Happy days, happy days. My wife is going to make a pot roast tomorrow. I love pot roasts. And, if you're trying to do the keto or carnivore thing, pot roasts can be okay. Just it depends what veg you put in with the pot roast. So, as long as you maybe avoid the starches, but you stick with the greens, it can actually be a good thing. Let me see now. Let's open up the chat bar. So there's Daniel. Hello, Daniel. How you doing, sir? Coming in with a roar. That's because Daniel is a GD sexual tyrannosaurus. He's probably got a mouthful of chaw right now and a minigun just sitting on the floorboard waiting for him to get to LZ. That's an easy reference. You guys should have got that one pretty good. Pretty easy. Got some paints in. I had to do a reorder. And because of Shadow's punk ass, I decided to pick up this Ancient Honey yellow color. And I'm sitting here looking at everything on the table. So guess which one's going to get opened first? Right? The Ancient Honey, because he swears it's really good. So, I'm going to try it out. And if it's not, then next time I talk to him, I'm going to yell at him. And if I don't talk to him next time, I'm going to get with my boy Cold Iron Oven. And I'm going to tell him to make the worst memes ever. Because, he has been really, really kind and gentle lately with his memeing. And I appreciate it. I do. But he don't gotta be. And I think we all need to accept that. He could be pretty rough if he wanted to be. And so Shadow Bear come around pretty quick, or I'm just gonna tell Cold Iron to remove all the stops. Go nuts. Make all the gay vampire memes you want. The reason the camera is the way it is because I think my what I would call my good camera, my Logitech, blah blah blah. Yesterday, I'm pretty sure it died. Either it died or the computer died, but the computer's still functioning, so I think it's the camera. We'll see. So I'm going to use this aged honey on this Valkyrie looking woman's hair. And it's looking like a dark blonde. So I kind of like that, Especially since this Valkyrie woman's very tall and looks like she should be like a Hyperborean or something anyway. And they all have, light hair except for the occasional, black or red-headed one. This miniature is there's a shop out there that created a bunch of Dark Sun miniatures. And unfortunately, you can't buy them. You have to, okay. You can't buy them in plastic. You have to actually get them 3D printed or 3D print them yourself, which is, have done. Yeah, I like that yellow. It's not as good as when it comes to yellow, it's nowhere near as good as the Flash Gets yellow, but it's just a different yellow. It's like a darker yellow, but not an orangey yellow. Because the Flash Gets yellow, that is Very, very yellow. Boop. So, yep. So the Monday stream got to chat with Paul, which is always a pleasure. And my brother stopped in, which, again, he is one of my favorite people. I mean, somewhat lagging in the back behind my wife for sure, but otherwise he's up there. I'm very I don't know if I always was this way, but now I have become, and maybe it's just getting older, a change of philosophy. Like I've been with my wife for 20 years, and she and everyone involved knows that she will always be prioritized over everyone, including my own children. And people have gotten used to that idea. I think I started film this way because I read somewhere, like in scripture or something, that you're supposed to be this way. And I think that's where a lot of people have problems is they get married, but they don't prioritize their spouse. It's like, I mean, let's say you're a guy and you meet a woman and she's got a kid, but you decide you're going to do the hard job of trying to raise someone else's kid. And that's a very hard job. And it takes an incredibly special kind of man to be willing to step up. Like me, I'm not that man. Like, hey, what's up, Big James? Check out the Anker PowerComp C200 webcam. Very solid, budget friendly, nice. Oh, $50 is not bad at all. Yeah, I will do that. Not your echo. I appreciate the advice. I do. This one, I think it's just I had it for so many years that eventually, this kind of shit just gets old. All right, we got Bubba. Hoorah!
I think I got to fix my camera. I think it's on permits, Zoom or something. It's 3 feet away. It should not be this focused on my face.
Well, good thing you got a handsome face then.
I put the Cur in mediocre.
The Cur in mediocre. Like the internet aristocrat when he changed his name to Medicare because somebody said he was Medicare and they meant mediocre, but they couldn't spell it. So he changed his name to just Medicare. That guy, Jim, was his real name. He's a funny guy.
It's funny.
But yeah, I got to hang out with Paul yesterday. It was pretty much a slow day, but I think the reason is a lot of the people I normally talk to throughout the week actually run games Monday nights.
I do.
So, right. So I'm not going to see a lot of the people.
Yeah.
And I streamed later than usual.
Yeah.
So I started at about 8:00 my time, which is when most people are starting their games, But I was talking about that game, Escape from the Dark Castle, which is a really good board game. Like, sets up in a couple of minutes, plays in less than 30 minutes, just tons of fun. What's up, the Squirrel Hermit? King of the Squirrels. So you guys stay on Squirrel Hermit's good side, or he'll tell the squirrels on you, and then you'll have to be like Rick and Morty and just go to another reality because, once the squirrels are onto you, you're just effed. There's just nothing for you then. You're done. You just got to escape reality. The only reason they let us survive is because they know we don't know what they're doing. But, well, Bubba, I've heard a lot about your game. You know that, though.
Yeah. Tim's enjoying it, I guess.
Yeah, because Leth likes to pop on and share what all's going on and tell me everything. And sounds like everybody's having a blast, man.
Yeah. It's just I run a dungeon crawl. We haven't done a lot of NPC stuff because they don't seem too interested in it, so I don't push it. It still happens whether they like it or not. It's happening behind them.
Right.
So figure it out. I had to cancel my Thursday session. I'm down. I got to drop out temporarily because of work, and there's one guy's out of town, and the other guy's in ICU. So
yeah, this is I mean, we're starting to get over it, but this whole time of year is kind of like weird, like the holidays and everything, because that's when everybody's doing stuff.
I know a lot of campaigns used to the Thanksgiving to December. They would just
pretty
stop.
much what happened, even though we didn't want to. It happened whether we wanted it to or not, though, you know?
Yeah.
Because
the
wife and I were constantly on the road to somewhere. And then we'd be like, yeah, there's not going to be a game this week because we're, you know, Alabama, Georgia, wherever the hell we are. Yeah, when we finally came home from our last trip to Jackson, you know, because to quote the man in black, I'm going to Jackson.
Which Jackson?
And I did. Georgia.
Okay.
About 45 minutes outside Atlanta. I don't know if it's the same Jackson that him and his wife sang about, but I always take a picture and post it on my post, you know, welcome to Jackson. Because it's like, because I'm a Johnny Cash fan and it kind of tickles me. But when we got home, I said, look, we are not going anywhere for at least like a month, please. You need to, I mean, I miss my house. You know, it's like,
yeah. I sent my wife a meme the other day, and it encapsulates it. Let me find it because I thought it was funny. It really describes. The older I get, the more I hate making extra stops on my way home, like I'm late for the house.
Right.
I'm late to get my pajamas on and sit on the couch.
I was really lazy this morning. I woke up early and managed to sit in the bed reading some role-playing books and stuff until like maybe 35 minutes, hour ago.
I can't do that. I gotta be up early. I get up anywhere from 2 a.m. to 6. I gotta take my granddaughter to school and then pick her up.
But see, that's stuff you got to do. You got obligations. I woke up this morning with no obligations.
Yeah. I did get my hair cut today.
So,
I walked in, I said, chop.
I see that.
Give me a high and top, baby.
That is, my unit enforced that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of units on the base, you could grow out your hair X amount long or whatever it was.
Guards, dude, we went in the field with mullets.
But freaking in 3-7 infantry, it was high and tight, nonstop. It didn't matter if you had 20 years in, you were still getting a high and tight because that was just the unit standard. But whatever. It's funny, though, because as soon as we deployed to the Gulf, all that shit went right out the window. People were walking around with scrubbly faces and hair hanging down to their ears.
There's peacetime standards and there's combat standards. And as long as you are efficient in combat, they don't give a shit. You just got to look back.
Yeah, pretty much.
There were mohawks and mullets with the airborne in World War II. You've seen them old pictures.
Well, yeah, that was a thing for one of the airborne units. They all did
Screaming
mohawks on them.
Yeah, Screaming Eagles.
Yeah, that was a thing. See, Daryl said he was trying to watch 2 games at once last night. Yeah, I think Shadow does his pirate game on Mondays. I'm not positive.
Barrows and Borderlands he does.
Oh, okay. And then Bear may have had a game.
Yeah.
I crashed out because my wife took me out to the tavern and I ordered a big Cobb salad and ate more of it than I should have. And I have this weird thing where when I eat a lot, I immediately just my brain just starts shutting down. I'm like, you know. So
I think we get older.
yeah, I didn't get to watch much of anything because I came to the house and laid down and was out
Yeah,
by like 7 o'clock.
There's a new place in Ironton we'll check out, and they just posted a 15-inch hot dog with chorizo chili and all this crazy shit on there, and I'm like, I may have to attack that. That looks ridiculous.
Tell you what, I do love a good chili dog. I don't know too many people who don't.
I don't like chorizo that much, though. Chorizo burns me up, so I'm kind of worried about it. So.
See, I've never had chorizo on a hot dog. I've only ever had chorizo with eggs.
Well, it's a chorizo chili that they're putting on top of it.
Yeah, so they make chili, but it has chorizo in it. Yeah. The only time I've ever really had chorizo has been in like a breakfast burrito or just served with eggs. You know, huevos con chorizo or whatever.
I forget what I had chorizo in. I've had a Mexican chili that burnt me up, and then the chorizo. What was that on? I can't remember. It's like I'll try it. I regretted it instantly because of my GERD.
Yeah, they I mean, Haas would tell you that chorizo burritos are the thing in El Paso. Like he used to love when he drove truck through El Paso because there was a particular place he'd always stop because they had, in his opinion, the just the best freaking. And I'm like, I don't need to go to Texas, honestly.
Yeah, I can make stuff. I get all weird about stuff like that. I'm like, I can make it. Give me the recipe, I'll figure it out. Because I make barbacoa more authentic than a lot of the Mexican places around here. Use that beef.
Well, I mean, around there, yeah.
Yeah. Beef cheek and lingua. It's tongue and cheek, baby. It takes about 20 hours, so I don't make it very often.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about that because she was more of a upper middle class, lower upper class, raised in a city and all that. And I was telling her how we used to like cut the cheeks off of the pig head when we were butchering it. And she's like, really? And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I always tell her we eat everything but the squill.
Yeah. The secret for years with my my baked beans, everybody's like, "What? It's not like everyone else's baked beans. What makes it different?" I said, "I put hog jowl in there instead of fatback."
Yeah,
or bacon. Everybody else has put regular bacon in. I'm like, nah, get that jowl in there. That's the prime rib of bacon. Get you pig.
Yeah.
Not the face. Get the shit right here, right underneath the chin, underneath the hanger. That's where you get
right.
The jowl.
So we so I set up all day just rereading the adventure I'm running and cross checking different rules and stuff, just making sure I'm doing everything right. And I'm painting some miniatures. I do have to give shadow props. The ancient honey is actually a good color.
Yeah, that
is a solid color.
I ain't painted forever. I need to get me some paint and paint up some miniatures for Battletech, and I've been eyeballing some red box games. So I'm gonna paint up some of them halflings and a couple of fighters. So I just haven't. It's been cheap. Everything's out. Hobby's back burner.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day, my wife got me this box of 20 werewolves.
War Games Atlantic does good stuff. I like their stuff.
Yeah, 10 years ago, they were kind of the cheap option, but not great.
Then, didn't
they? They put out, they just weren't well sculpted and everything, but this last maybe 10 years, they freaking just up and up and up. Their stuff has gotten so much better. And you never know. There could be a whole town full of werewolves out there that the players wander into, Everybody seems normal most of the time, and then all of a sudden,
Dude, my dungeon restocks in Highfell have been cloakers and freaking trolls. That's all I've been rolling.
Oh my goodness.
Cloakers. I'm gonna do a video
Yeah.
later today, I think.
Leth was talking some shit the other day about how tough his character was. I said, you only think you're tough because you haven't had a troll run up on you or two.
He's had.
And he's like, what? And I was like, oh yeah. He's like, well, I've got this good shield, blah, blah, blah. And I said, if 2 or 3 trolls run up on you, one of them's going to be flanked. One of them will be behind you just because of whatever. So ignore the shield for one, and the other's getting a bonus. And it's like, yeah, 3 attacks each. Get out of here, man.
AC bloat in Dragon Slayer really is beneficial to the players because the to hit is generally lower across the board for the monsters. So you have to use the situational modifiers, and the trolls are +9 to hit normal. So they actually have like a FACO 11. But he's got that +3 defender. And every time he sees trolls or anything mean, he puts 3 into defense and uses a +0 hammer. So he can rock a -4 AC. And he's got that flying thing. He flies away.
Yep. He said that. And I said that -4 AC is great, except the troll standing behind you, he gets +4 to hit.
Yeah.
So,
well, no.
You know, he's got basically a base to hit you of 11.
Yeah.
And 3 attacks.
Don't get +4 to hit from the rear, but you do lose dex and shield. And I had a buddy who was dealing with AC bloat in his game, and he was just getting all depressed about it or kind of just bummed out. And I was like, they don't get shield and dex from the rear, right? The only real question is if you want to add a +2 on top of that.
I wonder what I'm thinking about that
you're
gets
base
for
some
behind.
Huh? That's just thieves.
Oh.
AD&D page set. This is how much of a dork I am. DMG page 70. No shield, no dex, +2 to hit from the rear.
Okay. There you go.
But Dragon Slayer doesn't say anything about +2 to hit. Just losing your shield.
Yep.
Can't negate some of that bloat.
Oh, there's my mom saying she loves me. I will be good, man. Every now and then she pops in just see what I'm doing, I think.
I was trying to remember their first appearance. I thought it was Descent. I know it was Stalkers. Assault Slaver Stockade.
For what?
First appearance of the Cloaker. I was thinking it was Descent Depths of the Earth. Nope, it was Slavers.
It's kind of like I think the first appearance of the Drow at all is in the Giants.
Yeah. They're not in the monster manual. Neither is the Cloaker. Cloaker's actually in the monster manual too. His first appearance was in a module. So
right.
Where was the first appearance for Holder? It's my favorite adventures.
I don't even know.
Dragon 32. Fell Pass.
Yeah.
I've not had a party survive that encounter yet.
Yeah, I was saying I'm not even going to try to.
I get all.
I mean, I could try to make a guess, but yeah, I'll just say I'm wrong when I or say I don't know when I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I didn't know.
I
don't think I've used the holders very often. And the people I run the game for are like 50-50 on that, one for one.
Yeah.
Like one group got TPK'd and the other group managed to defeat the Beholder. But it wasn't easy, and people got freaking turned to stone and effed up and everything. So
yeah, that's the way.
But they did kill it.
Yeah. That petrification beam instead of anti-magic for Labyrinth Lord and Dragon Slayer, I think is actually kind of meaner. Now, the dragon doesn't have the poisonous bite. I think the Labyrinth Lord had 2 poison tentacle flappers, like Saber Die slaps. Plus all.
And the In the adventure I'm talking about, there's a beholder in there. If you manage to defeat him and you manage to go up the tube where his lair is,
Yeah.
there's a potion of stone to flesh.
Yeah.
So that's a thing, you know. It turns somebody to stone, but there's a potion right there. So
That was always classic. The oils and magic were all part and had used within the adventure. They weren't just around. They usually had a purpose to help you overcome a problem.
right. Yeah. And then of course I've got my favorite humanoid monster over here getting ready to be stored for the game. Even though no, they are in Hyperborea. Bullywugs. They're not called bullywugs, but they're in Hyperborea. Frogmen.
Froglings, bullywugs.
They have been one of my favorite monsters. I've talked about it at length, how compared to orcs and stuff, they just seem way scarier to me.
My favorite actual humanoid monster are hobgoblins because I play them like militaristic Klingons.
Right. Well, of all of the goblinoids, the hobgoblin is really the only one I would allow to be a player character.
Yeah, they're lawful evil though, so I'd be kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, they're lawful evil, but you could always do what they did in AD&D and allow them like a one-spot switch.
Yeah, but that's
So
another.
you could have a neutral evil or a lawful neutral hobgoblin.
Yeah, that's another one of those races you would not be able to walk into another. They would kill you.
Yeah, nobody would like them.
I don't know who'd be the worst, the elves or the humans. Probably elves.
Well, probably the elves, because hobgoblins and elves really hate each other.
I got a thing set up with an orange dragon, and he's got a. I'm building this thing up, and it's a bunch of. They have a tower across from his lair, so they do both support and shield wall to support the dragon. I think that'll be a TPK if they go into it too early. It's a spot in the world, right? It's one of those. It's on the rumor chart, and if you want to seek it out, you have to seek it out. And it's
right.
the orange dragon out of Dragon, so that Lakofka made. It spits out liquid sodium, so it coats you with goo, and in X amount of rounds, you erupt into flame. But if it contacts water, it blows up. So there's a river that you can wade across to get to his lair. And on one side is the Hobgoblin Tower, and on the other side is the dragon's lair, where he keeps a couple outside with pole arms. So you got to go waist deep through the water where he can just napalm you. And if you're attacking the tower first, then you have a dragon who gets to circle out and ambush you when you try to leave. So,
see, in my homebrew campaign that I used to run, the hobgoblins had an entire empire south of the mountains.
mm-hmm.
And I based their empire on the Ottoman Empire under Mehmet.
Yeah.
So they had like their like king, basically, or emperor, and they were slavers, and they'd enslave everybody, and they were constantly attacking everyone around them nonstop. And goblins lived in the society in huge numbers, but they were like second-class citizens.
Yeah.
And treated like crap. But there were some human barbarians that would actually take mercenary contracts from the hobgoblins. Yeah. So,
warlords scattered across the area, but in the Underdark, there's hobgoblin kingdoms. Like I took that concept from DDO, where it's all underground and fortifications, and went with that for the hobgoblins. So the hobgoblins are really strong in like the upper part of the Underdark. But they tend to infight amongst each other a little too much to get too organized. But when they get organized, they're the most feared humanoids because I'm giving them like special things. I'm allowing them to do the fighter charge that Dragon Slayer does. So they do double damage. Their spears are unique, so they're only 6.
Right.
But they're like iconic. So if you're a hobgoblin lover, or you a spy, and and doing a shield wall thing with them. So if they're side by side, they get 2 days, so they have to fight in ranks. Not counting unique spells for their witch doctors or their war wizards.
Yeah.
So we'll make them mean all
in my campaign, because I basically just used kind of earth, but scrubbed some things off. The Hobgoblin Empire was pretty much, I mean, on a continental level, it was the big bad guy. And it had already swallowed up a bunch of other kingdoms and impressed people into slavery. And the Hobgoblins, the way I played them, is they were very smart, and they operated in units almost like, well, like Romans almost, with like shield walls and spears, and then they would turn slaves, like if they captured human slaves, they would turn them into basically janissaries, which were like suicide troops. But and then of course all of your main troops would be hobgoblins, but then they would be backed up by auxiliary troops that would be goblins or whatever else. And they were really, in my campaign, they were really good at siegecraft.
Yeah,
was a thing with them. Like,
yeah, just give them good tactics, and they're terrifying to player characters. Once you start playing the humanoids like they're a military unit, player characters' sphincters will swink up and they'll panic. What do you mean they're not falling for my stupid trap? No, they're calling in archers.
That's kind of scary. But James, has he told you about how he's terrorizing our party now?
Yeah, he mentioned a little bit of it.
The cloakers.
Cloakers are a thing.
A terrifying thing.
They are.
They're not as strong as they are in AD&D because their AC is worse.
Yeah.
They lose a hit die from TSR era to Dragon Slayer. Their to hits lower because of the system change. The damage is different, but they still envelop. But the at-will mirror image, that's pretty. The moan
pretty devastating.
One of the most terrifying things about a cloaker, but you guys haven't got it till your 6 rounds of the moaning. That minus it is devastating in Dragon Slayer.
Well,
I'm glad I have silence for that alone.
Yeah.
The fact that they lowered the hit die, you can look at that as kind of a cool thing because now you can use them more.
Yeah, number of periods only D2 on the replacement chart I've been using, but they keep popping up. Them and trolls. Every time I roll trolls, I'm rolling like 5 or more at a time. I'm like, whoa.
Well,
I'm just glad that you didn't do that with the cloakers. That'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I think there's like 6 or 8 of them.
I think I'd rather fight 5 trolls than 5 cloakers.
Yeah, and there's another room in an old DSR module where there's a trapper and at least 2 or 3 cloakers all at once. So the party gets wrapped up, and anyone who's not in it, the damn cloakers swarm them and try to wrap them up.
Swarm
them.
I'd rather probably fight 5 trolls than 2 cloakers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the cloakers, they're definitely a thing, Cloakers, and the other one I've used a lot when people are deep underground is piercers.
Yeah. They get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and they look like, stalactites, and then they try to drop down and spear you. It's like
ropers. A roper will attract them to feed off its cast-offs because they're kind of carrying it, claw up out away from it. But yeah, I wasn't have an eye in their back, so you can't flank them. They have an eyeball in the back of them, which wasn't listed in Dragon Slayer, but in the ecology and previous editions it does. So I'm putting the eyeball back on the back, so you can't flank them. And the way I do at-will abilities, people aren't liking that either. I'm like, well, it's at-will, bud. You can look at it. It's instead of a move or instead of an attack, or it's bonus. It's like I attack and move, and he's an at-will. Mirror image, at-will.
Yeah, in Hyperborea, trolls are stronger than they are in like other versions of D&D, and it specifically says that when possible they try to take people alive because they really enjoy torturing them to death. So that makes them extra scary because it's like this is a creature that will try to knock you unconscious and trap you for no good reasons, you know.
Cloakers are originally not even evil. I think they're chaotic neutral originally.
Yeah, these ones are not. They're considered the most hideous of the humanoid creatures on the whole damn plane. And they basically hate every other living creature, and they really, really enjoy torturing people slowly to death over time.
They're
Hey,
malicious.
James.
So I'm wondering if that.
Me and the elf got to defeat 6 orcs by ourselves.
Yeah, you told me about that because you got separated or something.
No, we didn't get separated.
No, they were camping.
Yeah, we were camping.
I'm like, I rolled a night attack and I rolled a bunch of orcs. I'm like, orcs would try to kill you in your sleep. So they rushed the guys on watch, and they had 2 on top of sleeping people, unarmored, which would have been automatic damage, save or die. The damage dealt is the minus to your death save. They're smart.
I saved the dwarf by casting hold person and hold personing both of the ones on him.
Nice.
And then the elf went.
Everyone else got real quiet. They knew that could have been like real bad. You lost initiative. You could have had 2 people executed in their sleep.
Yeah, we were lucky on that one.
The just comparing orcs in the game I'm running have this whole ecology. It's like they were created by devil swine breeding with pigs, and that created the orc, which is why the orc is pig face. But then there's also this thing, it's like some kind of spirit, like a swine ghost type of thing. And like any location where a lot of orcs have died, these things sometimes appear. And then of course you've got the devil pigs, which are like from basic D&D, you know, they can appear like, you know, kind of overweight humans, but they really love eating human flesh, and they can also appear as pigs, and they have that really awesome like charm spell. And then there's like tribes near the city of Orcrist where some of the tribes of pigs and half pigs actually worship the demon swine as kind of deities. So, you know, and make sacrifices to them and stuff like that. So, I mean, they really kind of changed up a lot on how orcs normally are, you know. And they're very present in what they call the boreal forest, which is basically like a cold rainforest, you know. So you're talking like British Columbia.
Yeah. Portland, Seattle.
Yeah, somewhere in that region. And I wonder if he did that on purpose. If he's create a part of the world that's like, you know.
They're more diabolic up there, so I'd say it's more Cambians.
Well, the thing though is the devil swine is a demon, but he's called a luminary demon or whatever, because there are demons that live in hell, and there's demons that are trapped in the under earth, and then there's demons that actually exist on the earth. Luminal
demon spawn.
And you know, most of them are really weak, but a demon spawn, that's like a 6 or 7 hit die creature, immune to normal weapons with a badass charm spell. And you know,
dude, when you're fighting devils and demons, that's where you're up in your game because of the at-will abilities.
Exactly. And they have tons of abilities. They can.
They have fewer in Dragon Slayer, but some of them are like at-will symbols, like Discord and Stun. So the Balor can basically, I do my 5 attacks on you, then I trace a symbol of stunning in your face.
Yeah.
Take a timeout.
And of course, like in normal D&D, most of them have the ability to summon something equal or lesser in power than themselves. So
there's a fee, and there's
so
percent
you
chance
could
of
end up with
success.
a daisy chain of these fuckers showing up, you know.
I don't do daisy chains. I don't let summon creatures summon others. I don't do that. Otherwise, they'd be unstoppable.
Well,
Yeah.
Plus, everyone that summoned owes the devil or the demon that summoned it favor.
then
The one who
I mean,
summoned
then that's
owes
cool.
it.
That's cool for your players and stuff. I allow it because it's not automatic.
Right.
Since there is a
Some of
roll
them do.
and there is a chance
I
that
summon D4 Vrox, and the Vrox have a 50% chance to summon D3 more Vrox apiece.
that could get way out of hand quick.
Yeah, it gets out of hand fast.
Yeah, you start out fighting one Vrock, and the next thing you know, there's like an army of Vrocks running amok. Hello, William Sova. How are you? Yeah, that wouldn't be good. But
Oh yeah, and I changed how I did attacks of opportunity. I've been going over the shield only and dex only for front. But now more I thought about it, attacks of opportunity, you can't trigger them if you run behind somebody. If they can't see you, facing matters.
right.
So the whole concept of it's like a ghoul's eating a corpse by a door and his back's a certain area, people could run past it to run away.
See,
But that front arc, he gets the attack routine, claw by. But I give the full attack routine for my attacks of opportunity, James, and people do not like that. But that's how it was in AD&D.
I'm
Right.
okay with it.
Attack routine.
the only way you get
It makes it
attack of
terrifying, but
opportunity- Go ahead.
It's terrifying, but it's fine for me because it's fair.
Yeah, the only way you get an attack of opportunity in my game is like, one, you're engaged in combat and you try to run away, or two, no, that's basically it. You're engaged in combat and you try to run away or run right by somebody. Because in the game, when you move, if you move within attack range of a creature, you're automatically considered engaged in combat. So if you keep
That's
trying to
right.
go, then now you're fleeing combat and it gets attacks on your back.
It says shift in Dragon Slayer. So when you shift position when in base to base, then you trigger attack of opportunity or you flee. So if you're trying to move around it, I get next to it and I try to shift over. And I got some guys who played a lot of 3E. So like, oh, I'll get a free 5-foot step. No, you move 5 feet to get, he gets to attack. But then the creature has to choose which direction. You know, he'll have to choose which way he faces unless you're on right, left. He can go back and forth.
Yeah, in this, it's more like, I guess it's just more simplified.
Yeah, it's BX based.
You know, you're either engaged or not. And if you're engaged, oh, well, they do give you the fighting retreat, but it still gets the attack of opportunity, but it's not on your back. It's on your front.
Right.
Because you're running away, but you're trying not to get waylaid.
Yeah.
Hey, Shadow, how you doing, bro?
It doesn't say anything about turn your back, but if you step back and turn, because I allow facings for free, and it doesn't say anything about it in the rule. So you could step back, trigger your full attack with your front arc, and turn around and run like a bitch.
Well, I'm
Or
going
you
to give
can
you
do
two
it
for just a few moments
Automatic turn
because
around and run.
Bubba, I'm going to leave you and Tim to talk because I have to go use the restroom. I will be right back.
I'll have to get off in a few minutes to make dinner. Actually, my wife should be home any second now.
I already had dinner, but yeah,
I'm getting ready to cook some steaks.
that sounds nice. I had fried chicken.
You know what? I got me a deep fry basket, and I'm going to break in my crock pot. Not my crock pot, but my cast iron crock for Bubba fried chicken. I got to track down some a few things, and then I'm debating I'm gonna put any cornstarch in. I know it crisps it up more. I just don't like using it. But I don't think I have enough beef tallow to do a full deep fry for my chicken.
Beef tallow sounds like it'd be nice to use for fried chicken.
Yeah. Now I grew up having Crisco, so I might just go out and get me some Crisco, which is good old fashioned pork fat.
I think our family's always used vegetable oil.
Anything on it, you know.
Yeah, I think our family's always used vegetable oil. Ugh.
My grandmother always used Crisco, so I'm thinking about going and getting Crisco. But so other stuff, I'm going to use the beef tallow because I'm trying to cut down going out to eat, which means there's certain things I think taste better otherwhere else, like the damn chicken planks, and crab rangoon. If I perfect a crab rangoon recipe, my ass is going to gain 100 pounds. I guarantee it. Crab rangoony.
Yeah. I've been looking at other cleric spells. You know, another one
Yeah.
I find
I need to
fun.
introduce some more. I like introducing them. They're based on people's religions, and I just haven't done. I usually do the Valtor for Yig and stuff, but some of them are just too powerful.
Fair.
But I have this supplement for Labrathor, Valtor, and it's a fighting man. It creates like flaming blades and stuff, but there's no blades for it. I'll look at it later.
I've actually looked at the spell Quest, and I really like that one.
Players in Quest on.
I was like looking at it, I'm like, I could just make people go off and do something? Okay.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. That's actually part of what I call domain play, where you do your shit.
I'm just thinking,
That's the whole point of
it doesn't say that you have to be friendly with the person either. You could just like have a big bad evil guy and just feel like, guess what? You're going on a quest.
You have to accept the quest.
Oh, I thought it said that they could, and if they don't, they still suffer penalties or something.
Stop doing the quest. If you stop, you die. I think old school. I've not reread it for Dragon Slayer because, like I said, most players never cast those spells ever.
I would
But
love
when
to.
you get raised or resurrected, there should be quest spells put on you by the people raising you because it's a boon from their deity, a big one, or a Geas. So you should be in the hole, not just a gold thing, right? The whole thing about I pay for res, that's a video game thing, right? In traditional D&D, not everybody gets raised. You go into a lawful good place and you have the reputation of being a chaotic neutral bandit, they're going to say, no. It violates the ethos of my lawful deity to raise this vagabond, this brigand.
Oh, in this version, it says that it can compel a player
Against their
player character.
will? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Save or take the quest.
Yeah.
I haven't read that.
Although it says player character, so I'm guessing it doesn't work on NPCs.
Well, you can. Well, that's RP. You know, if I hear my wife home making dinner, I
You
should
do that and have a great day.
I'm sure I had my potatoes in the oven. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad I'm that amazed that the quest spell though.
Well,
I guess if the DM allows it, you could still use it for domain play, but it's just like I'd find it utterly hilarious that they have to save or go on a quest. Wouldn't you? Just like your player decides, hey, why not? You're going on a quest.
Huh. You got a weird echo in your.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really low though, so I don't know if maybe I'm the only one who can even hear it.
Is that better?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I said, it was just super low. I could just barely hear it.
I don't know. Then it could be anything.
William Sova's on the run from the law for stampeding cattle. Well, I mean, you shouldn't be out there stampeding cattle, I guess. See, I'm on the run for what I did to the sheriff's daughter. I did it like this. I did it like that. I did it with a wiffle ball bat. So I'm on the run. The cops got my gun. And right about now, it's time to have some fun. So you see, Leth, now you and I are bandits. Sound was stampeding cattle through the Vatican. I am surprised on so many levels about that. Like, they have cattle in Rome, like the city, not, like, and also you're very lucky to have escaped the Swiss guard who, depending on the era, might have just ran you down and sent you to the next world.
One thing I wish that Dragon Strike had would be permanence.
Oh, Dragon Slayer?
Yeah.
No permanence?
No permanent spell as far as I can see.
Huh. I'm sure there's a reason.
Maybe. Oh, maybe it's a magic user only spell. I'm not sure. I haven't looked through the magic user spells.
Right.
It's a pretty big one too, so you get some pretty cool stuff too. I would like some of these spells.
Cool.
Oh, Galaxina's Gorgonic Glyph. We're going through her tower recently.
Ah. Sound was garbled. Yep. I think that Bubba just his internet's not great, and I understand it because my mom's internet sucks too. It's just up in those mountains there. I think if you want good internet, you'd probably have to pay for like Starlink or something like that.
Possibly, most likely.
I don't think that, like, what they offer you, they can tell you all kinds of shit, but it's as sketchy as hell.
Luckily, where I'm at, we finally did get fiber optic.
Right. See, I don't know. They might bring fiber optic up to where the Madre lives, or they might not. You never. I mean, it's like, hell, it took them a long time just to bring like water up to there. So I'm not holding my breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why I always talk about growing up in a farmhouse with an outhouse, because it's not like we didn't want to hook up to like the water. It was just that it simply did not exist. So you had no choice. But anyway. Yeah, there's some pretty cool spells in that one, but that's just a lot of those spells are been quoting Blazing Saddles. Nice. Yeah. A lot of those spells are not too different from like basic D&D, so it's cool. The Hyperborea, you've got the mage list, which only magicians get, and then every subclass has their own list, which might share some spells with the mage list, but it'll have a bunch of unique spells that only they get. And so, there can be a lot to keep track of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Cryomancer doesn't get half of the really good mage spells, but he can shoot, instead of like a magic missile, he has to roll to attack, but he can shoot like a swarm of freaking icicles at you and all kinds of other shit, So you just pick your poison, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yep. Permanency is a wizard spell. Or magic user
It
spell.
should be a pretty high level one too.
Yeah.
Where
Faith
did Shadow go? I wanted to say something to him.
Who knows?
He popped in and said hi and then bunked the frick out. That guy. I tell you, that guy. We got polished silver. Okay, broadside. Still, we're going to try some of this. Yeah, but as soon as I saw William, as soon as I saw I'm on the run, I immediately went to license to ill, you know.
Oh, Shadow's still here. He's just
Shadow, I just got in a couple of bottles of ancient honey. And while it's not as bright and like canary yellow as the Bad Moon Orc or whatever, Flash Get Orc, Bad Moon Yellow. I like it. It might actually be the better color for like blonde hair and stuff like that. So good call. And because you gave me good advice, I'm not going to sick cold iron oven on you. Because that's what I was saying when you weren't here. I was like, if this ain't good paint, I'm going to sick cold iron oven on Shadow for real. It'll be nothing but cave vampire memes from here until the freaking end of days. But no, it turns out this stuff is good. I like it a lot.
seems like there's going to be a lot for at least right now, anyway.
A lot of what?
Gay vampire memes.
Well, I don't know.
He's really on that kick right now.
They're not too bad. It's either I'm beating a sleeping vampire with a wooden spoon, or I'm possibly shoving kimchi into the casket with them. Which, I mean, I like and eat kimchi all the time, but I don't think I'd like to lay in it. That would not be comfortable. And Shadow's vampire keeps taking a dump in my mailbox because he can't get into the house. So out of revenge, he just takes a deuce in my mailbox. Yeah, it's a good color. I like it. Another color I've started using a bit that I really love, well, two other colors, is Ruddy Flesh. Or not Ruddy Flesh, Ruddy Fur. I really like that. It looks good for like deer and stuff like that. And I just had it in my hand. I can't believe I just had it in my hand. Oh, Peachy Flesh. Peachy Flesh. And I also picked up Fairy Flesh or whatever, which is more of a pink color. And that's pretty good too. What's up?
Hey, what's happening? Where's my camera?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Oh,
there it is.
You wouldn't show up anyway on a camera, would you?
Of course I would.
Kind of like how you don't show up in mirrors.
Here I am, live in the flesh. And hey, I got to clear something up.
Hey, Shadow.
Hey, what's up, Timmy? Permanent seat rocks, but AD&D did everything better. Just saying. I don't know that I'm the guy who recommended that yellow paint.
You are.
Okay, I have no memory of that whatsoever. I'm not going to take credit for something I didn't do.
Well, I was talking about how awesome that this Bad Moon Yellow was the best yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it was you that said aged honey or whatever. Ancient honey. No, but
I do have that.
I don't think it was you. It may have been squirrel.
I think it. I mean, I don't have Bad Moon Yellow in my collection, and the honey is eh. What I do when I do blonde hair, what I actually do.
It wasn't you then.
Yeah. What I do when I do blonde hair, I usually start with like a like Iraqi sand or a desert yellow, Then I will zenithal highlight that with white, and then I will use any one of a number of Reaper yellows like neon, and then I actually dry brush over that with gold.
Yeah, that takes too much time. I'm not bothering. I don't know what contest you're trying to win, but I'm not.
Oh,
Squirrel Hermit is the one that told me to look at. Well, then I apologize so much for getting confused, Squirrel Hermit.
Yeah, credit where credit's due, man.
Yeah, it turns out I really like it. It makes a good alternate color for blonde-haired miniatures. You know, because it's blonde, but it's not super bright blonde. So it's kind of that more like, I don't know what to call it, just a darker blonde.
I tend to use, like, believe it or not, like a neon yellow. Because when you're doing tabletop minis, you want them to be visible. So sometimes I kind of either lean into that grungy look,
Right.
or I lean into a sort of a almost comic book or hyper exaggerated, kind of like the old GW painting style, with lots of reds and yellows and blues and greens, primary colors. I love that shit.
I still, to this day, when I paint my fantasy GW stuff and my Orc Boar Boys, I always paint the weapons red.
Mhm.
Because in old school Games Workshop, the weapons were always painted red, like spear halves and shit.
Absolutely. It's funny. I probably own less than 10 orcs, goblins, things like that. I have like almost no use for them. And thus I have no ownership of them. But our good friend James L. showed me this set. I think it's War Games Atlantic. That you remember the old Undead Skeleton Horde box from GW? It was like a cube, like a rectangular cube that had like a chariot, 6 horsemen, a crap ton of infantry with multiple options, and maybe a ballista. I think the catapult was in the metal set. Well, the set he showed me is this big giant freaking army box that's got 8 horsemen, a bunch of chariots, a bunch of infantry. Unfortunately, no war machines, which kind of sucks. But I can never have enough skeletons.
Well, that makes me just feel sorry for your players. But anyway,
we like in my D&D game, there are no orcs or goblins. I tend to use lizardmen and other things that don't get as much love. And the whole orc goblin, even giants thing is just kind of, to me, like kind of boring and played out. We did that, for a quarter of a century or more, and
Right.
it's I mean, how often do you get to throw out the snake man? Obviously you do with Hyperborea. That's like the thing, but elsewhere it just don't get enough time in the spotlight as far as I'm concerned.
Yep, it is a thing, but Hyperborea doesn't have most of your normal demi-humans, but it definitely has orcs, and they are the worst orcs. Like, in any game I've ever really read, these are the absolute worst orcs ever. Like, you never want to be near them.
But those awful traits and qualities you could easily apply, across the board to anything. I mean, think about like Snake Men. The crap that they're doing is far more insidious and vile and obviously evil. The whole idea of them, disguising themselves as humans and getting into politics and stuff. That's, for me, that's far more terrifying than them gnashing their teeth and beating their war drums and raping, pillaging, and murdering just for the sake of doing so.
You are not incorrect, sir. The most common if you could even call it a class for the serpent men, is scientist,
Yikes.
because they're constantly trying to rediscover the Atlantean lost technology and shit like that. So they're like literally they're doing science to try and figure out how to make laser guns and shit. Plus, they're also interfering with human civilization because they want all humans dead,
Mhm.
and getting involved in other things like that. So yeah, you're right. Serpent men are bad. The frog guys are bad. I
Mhm.
think what makes the orcs really bad in this game is the fact that they're half demons, that they come about from a devil swine breeding with a human, in this case, a Pict. So, I don't know if you remember the devil swine from basic D&D.
I never played Basic, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Basically,
Hogar,
a pig kind of demon lycanthrope type thing with a powerful charm spell that could be like a fat human or a giant pig, and they hunger for human flesh. So they're luminal demons, which means they actually don't they are native to the material plane, even though they're demons.
Hmm.
And they've set up cults of Picts that worship them. And because of this whole relationship, you get pig-faced orcs, who are the half-bred children of Picts and these demon pigs.
And everybody knows that the pig-faced orcs are the superior orcs.
Yeah. And then, of course, being pig-faced orcs, they either run around with themselves or sometimes Picts as well and raid and pillage. Mostly they're just trying to get people to sacrifice to their deity, which is the devil swine, the demon pig. And so that's a whole thing. But I tell you, great minds think alike. Though in my homebrew Kalingrad campaign, there were no orcs or half.
Yeah, I actually am using a monster in one of my games that's actually it's in the monster manual, but nobody uh, realizes what it is. And if you look it up, the only reference you get is from the 5e version, which is way sillier and kind of goofy in comparison to what I'm throwing at them on occasion.
Poor sign orcs for the win. I agree, Squirrel. And how are you, Haas, my brother? Our mom was in chat earlier saying be good. Anyway,
That's nice.
yeah,
That's
mom,
nice.
she'll pop in and she'll say, hello, my son, be good. And then she's gone. It's like, okay. I mean, whatever. But that started happening when I started broadcasting to Facebook, because my Facebook doesn't have a lot of people on it, but it has my family on it. And some of the firefighters I used to work with, like that one day, I don't think you're here, but the guy Mike showed up. Mike was one of the a guy, just his name is Mike. He was a firefighter I worked with for years, right? And he showed up and we started talking all this shit back and forth. And
that's
so
cool.
that was good, and so, yeah, my uncles will show up every now and then and just give me like a shout out, like, you tell them, nephew, and then they'll vanish because they're not going to watch this, but they'll show up and back me up a little bit, and that's nice. So yeah, in the Kalingrad campaign, based heavily on the rush of Ivan the Terrible, there were no orcs, there were no halflings. If you wanted to play something like a halfling, you played a gnome. And orcs just didn't exist at all. But I made huge use of bullywugs, because part of the northern coast was just like this salt marsh, swampy region, and it was actually called the Croaking Coast because there were so many different tribes of bullywugs there, and they weren't that far away from the King's Highway. So, anyone traveling, east to west or west to east along the King's Highway, depending on the time of the year, because in the wintertime, they all went dormant. They went to their underground lairs and hibernated. But any other time of the year, them little bastards would be out there. And I mean, and we've talked about this at length, I believe, Shadow. How I've mentioned how I think bullywugs are probably the scariest humanoid out there.
Really, more so than like big burly freaking lizard men.
Yeah, lizard men are close second or third, but there's just something about, like, if you encounter a bullywug, there's just, you and that thing are not thinking the same at all.
Mm-hmm.
It is a completely kind of alien creature, and it only exists to eat. And it will eat anything it can fit in its mouth, including smaller bullywugs. So, I mean, they're just bastards. You know what I mean? Even in orc, you can kind of understand where it's coming from a little bit, but
no, I mean,
a cold-blooded bastard like a bullywug, you can't understand where that thing's coming from.
I guess maybe it's the Arduin thing, because they had two kinds of lizard men. They called them saurids, the desert and the swamp. The swamp, those are your crocodiles, your alligators. You bump into them in the swamp, you're screwed. They're in their element. You're just trying not to drown. And then in the desert, you've got these ancient, tombs and pyramids and the whole, Egyptian / Mayan sort of theme going on, where they're organized. They have, goals and motivations and plans, and they're trying to do shit, that sort of links back to the you remember how in sci-fi back in the day, the precursors or the ancients were always some form of Sleestak or lizard man, high technology, magic, psionic, freaking, rulers of the universe, like the Slan.
Right.
They got that thing still going on. They're still trying to, gain back their star empire or what have you. So that's, oh, wow. Damn. I started talking to you with 50% power. Now I've got 15. I got to go upstairs and change devices. I'll be right back, guys.
Well, I mean, and while he's running up there, or he's still there, I mean, that sounds an awful lot about what you were saying about serpent men.
Yeah.
Except they're desert dwelling lizard guys, which in my opinion is super cool. And I mean, okay, your idea of the lizard men, that lines up really well with my idea of the bullywugs. They're both these weird alien kind of things that got their own shit going on, and you probably are not going to understand it so much
and want to be part of it.
Well, and in my my campaign, the bullywugs, they actually worshipped this ancient, well, it was a demon really, but their whole deal was they were constantly praying, and that's what the croaking was all the time, for the whole world to be flooded into a swamp again, because they had like the ancestral memory of when the whole world was a hot swamp before, things changed and it become what it become. And they used to rule that hot, swampy time, in the time before mammals and especially humans. So that was a big part of their religion was, worshiping this evil deity that they hoped one day could flood the whole earth so that they could take over. I mean, so yeah, they had my bullywugs had a whole thing, they had a whole thing going on. But like Serpent Men and Hyperborea, not only are they mostly scientists and alchemists, but some of them work kind of hand in whatever with ego. So you know, oh, there he went. So you've got serpent men working with these weird fungus / cosmic demons. They're not demons, but they may as well be. So, and the way they describe it, though, Shadow, is like they don't call it a
I'll
serpent
be
man
right back.
lair. They call it a serpent man lab. Because
Nice.
anywhere they dwell in any number, they're constantly doing all kinds of mad scientist shit.
Are you familiar with what was his name? Schneider, the guy who said he went into Dulce, New Mexico, the Mesa. Phil Schneider, you remember that guy that said he was part of a military team that went in and encountered reptilians in the Mesa and got his fingers blasted off by a laser gun in the real world.
That sounds really familiar. I know there's a similar story about a special forces team, and this was shortly after Vietnam, getting sent down in some deep caverns in Kentucky and saying they encountered some kind of, and there were like two types of them. One was kind of big, and then there was the smaller one, and they got into a fight with them. And according to the story, it's in that mockumentary or whatever, Hellier, Kentucky. They talk about it.
Okay.
And how some of the guys that they sent down actually died, and they had to cover it up. And, say
There's like my feed right now is full of the new distraction to keep us away from, which is not the Epstein stuff they're trying to keep us away from, but the fraud. That's what they're really trying to hide right now. If you haven't figured that out, folks, with the Epstein distraction, what they're really trying to cover up is the fraud in Minnesota and elsewhere. The billions, if not trillions of dollars every year that gets shoved into senators and congressmen pockets, as well as special interest groups. They don't want us to find out about that. They'll give us all kinds of horse shit about Epstein and right now it just, like, I want to say starting Sunday, I started getting all these videos in my feed about aliens are real, and I'm like, you must think we are really stupid. Especially like you and I both had that week or at least the weekend of Richard Feynman's whatever, why aliens.
Explaining why they can't be. Yeah.
Right?
Well, I noticed that the day after they accused a certain former president of being involved with a bunch of shit, he came out and said aliens are real. And it's just like,
right. Yeah. Don't look over here. Look over here. Bullshit.
I mean, I agree with you. The whole thing is pretty sus, man. Pretty suspect.
I mean, how dumb do they think we are?
They think we are really, really dumb.
Do I look Somali to you?
No, they think that you're really, really dumb. Not only that, but if you read the stuff, and I've said this before on my channel, and I'm sure a lot of people think I'm a hateful bastard for saying it, but if you read some of the exchanges between the people involved on that certain island,
Mm-hmm.
and the way they describe anyone that's not part of their particular tribe, they describe anyone not a member of their tribe as being basically animals without a real soul, et cetera, et cetera. And also, apparently, the main guy in charge really, really hated black people, which is why there were no black victims, because he despised them. And there were no Jewish victims either, because he couldn't do it to them because they were real humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they didn't even consider the people they were
What's up, Timmy?
possibly eating, because there's that legend going around now to be even human. It's pretty effed up. I talked about it at length in a video, and then I kind of dropped it.
I'm kind of done with it as well. I'm just.
But I will say this to your thing and anyone listening: I am very mad that they haven't arrested like 100 people by now.
But not even one. I think they just arrested one guy in Sweden or or it's somewhere over in Europe.
Yeah, how is Prince Andrew or whatever his name is?
No, so it wasn't him. It was a new guy that I never heard of, and I'm like, oh, okay, they got a fall guy or a patsy or someone who wasn't playing ball, and they're gonna offer him up like we give a shit. I want the other people. I don't care what the Dow is doing. I don't care how many institutions will collapse. I don't care if the internet goes down for a year or if there's bread lines and all that other crap. If we've got to tear down to the foundations, go door to door with a lie detector test or some such to prove you are not one of them, I am okay with all of that. I have
And
fought
I
my whole
agree
life
with
against
you
that.
entirely.
Pardon?
I agree with you entirely.
I spent a portion of my life, and I wish I could have done more to stop all of that. The harming of children is the absolute darkest, deepest level of hell, and I hear they've got some vacancies that need filling.
Well, I mean, not talking about that particularly, but I guess adjacent, since you want to discuss that a little bit.
I'm kind of
Um,
segueing
I
out of it.
started out being a super fan of like Cash Patel. And at this point, I think he needs to be fired.
From a catapult into the heart of the sun.
Right. Like everyone who's basically been involved with this investigation, they either need to start locking people up or themselves be locked up.
Well,
Because-
and not just him though. I'm really, really more than disappointed in Bongino. I used to listen to him almost religiously every day, thinking he was, one of us, and he
just
caved-
straight up quit. He was like,
well,
yeah, I'm
no,
out.
he caved in like a freaking wet paper bag.
Yeah.
And I know roughly, vaguely, what they had to say to him to get him to go.
Well, you got to remember that the people they're dealing with are not afraid to threaten murdering your whole family.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know too many people who'd be like, "Do it, bitch! I'm talking."
Right.
I mean,
And
when
that
push
is
comes
kind of
to
the issue, isn't it? It's like, how many people are willing to say whatever, knowing
Yeah.
that a bunch of specially trained operatives will be doing horrible, horrible things to your family?
Yeah.
If you do it. And
you
that's
know,
how they
and
grade
it's easy
people,
for
man.
us to say, "Oh, I talk,"
Yeah,
But
it's
that's-
easy until they threaten to kidnap like one of your female family members and spend a week doing horrible shit to her before killing her.
Yep.
It's super easy. And I got that from actually The Usual Suspects,
Mhm.
because there's the time where the guy doesn't want to do the thing, and Mr. Whatever his name was on the bottom of the coffee cup tells him that if he doesn't do the thing, then Kaiser Sose is going to send a group of his guys to kidnap this woman that the guy loves. And he doesn't go into details, but he says, believe me, her death will be lengthy and painful. And it's like, so then the guy does the job, because what do you do?
I've never
I
seen the
mean,
movie, but I could only imagine.
it's one of the best movies that's ever put on film. The Usual Suspects. I mean, and I do not say that lightly. When I tell you The Usual Suspects is a great movie, I mean it. It is freaking great. Everyone in it is great. And I know you don't like Kevin Spacey, but
No,
he
that's
is
not
great
true.
in this movie. He is
Well,
freaking
let,
great.
let me put it to this way: if I didn't think he was a child raping murderer, I would say he was one of the finest actors ever. But because I do believe the things I read and heard, and
So do I.
Which-
But two things can be true at the same time.
He can be a good
Uh,
actor and be a horrible person.
Yep.
Just the
and
worst.
well, the problem is that is usually always the case.
Right.
That's why I'm not a big movie and TV fan, because I worked in Hollywood and I know the sick.
Have you ever watched the Mel Gibson interview about Hollywood?
Probably. I've watched a lot of his stuff.
When he was
Oh.
young and he first came to Hollywood, like they interviewed him like 10 years later. And he was basically, this is before he got in trouble for getting drunk and talking shit
Mhm.
about, people. But, he was saying how Hollywood was just a disgusting hive of degenerates and
Mhm.
like he wouldn't hang out around them and all. And like all this
Mhm.
kind of shit. How like, he was, I think him or another guy was talking about there's some woman who's like a really high charting musician that's super, super popular that sacrifices a chicken every day to Moloch and in her own backyard and shit like this. And they're just like, it's like, like Maynard said in the Tool song, saying learn to swim. Because Maynard was saying, fuck LA, he hopes it sinks. Because it's just nothing but scum and villainy, like Mos Eisley.
It truly is.
There's a reason why in almost every culture in history, the Entertainer was the lowest cast ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a shame too. Which is really weird because
they're professional liars.
right.
That is their job. They're professional liars, and the people who run them are no better. So it's like it's so weird that
I'll give it
people
a
in America
look. See,
will listen
Squirrel.
to like
Right now,
Taylor
though.
Swift. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Squirrel said definitely watch the Shadow. I was going to say right after I just got Red Dwarf season 1 through 8, so I got to watch that.
Oh my goodness, I got that too. That's great.
Freaking one of the best things ever made.
What was it that was just released on YouTube that you could watch now? It was like a.
You're gonna have to be more
popular.
specific.
Yeah. That's not even. That's not even vague.
It was a very popular sci-fi that I heard once, and I cannot remember.
Farscape?
What?
Lake 7.
Lex.
I don't think so. It was one
Space
that you talked about on
Beyond,
here. I'm just trying to think of what it was called. It was
Firefly.
Yeah, I think it was Firefly.
I've got it. I've had it since I could have it. I've also got Twin Peaks on the way. I've never seen it. I tried finding it somewhere. Like
season 1 is awesome. Season 2, not so much. Season 3, great.
I never saw it. I know almost nothing about it, and it was Miguel and Sylvia's #1 pick for their favorite TV show. And I'm like, okay,
I won't run it for you then as much as I would like to.
Please don't.
But I just told you my overall, and I can tell you a couple other things. The acting is amazing. And it really is Lynch at his best. I mean,
it seems like it coming off the tail end of Dune, and now he got fucked over from that.
It is so moody and like
I
love it. I
watched the video yesterday about Dune and how Lynch had over 2 hours cut from his original version of Dune, and I'm like, they were like saying how it's not that great, and I'm like, that's weird because I absolutely love the original Dune movie. I don't like the books that much, and if it was longer, I would have loved it more, and that's fine. And I've got the extended cut that you can get, which makes it like 3 hours or
like
something.
The Sandwalker version, they call it.
I don't remember, but I absolutely love it. Jackie loved it. I just couldn't get past like the second or third book. It was just like, could we have some new characters besides Duncan Idaho and the characters from the first book just brought back?
Shadow, listen here, sir. You will have Duncan Idaho, and you will have him for like 12 books in a row. He will be the only recurring character, even though 100,000 years passes. There will always be Duncan Idaho, and I'm not even lying.
I'm pretty certain that's
No, you even get the shit about the Ix and all this shit. Guess who? Duncan Idaho. Like the 10,000 years or whatever that or the Emperor Leto II rules the Imperium. Duncan Idaho.
Yeah, it's like I'm doing a project on the side here for tomorrow or Thursday's video. And remember back in the day when Star Wars came out, the movie, and then I think it was Alan Dean Foster wrote Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and Han Solo at Star's End, Han Solo's Revenge.
I remember
Remember
having
all the-
Bullet Stars in. That was pretty good.
Okay, and there were all these books about Han Solo. It's kind of like that, you know. Everybody's expected to love Luke as the greatest thing since King Arthur. You know, when it comes to heroic characters, but everybody's over here looking at Han Solo as the jerk. You know what I mean? As like their favorite character, kind of like with Babylon 5 and Lando Malari.
You
He
know
was
what
the most
the
popular
reason
character
is
in
for
that show.
this? There's a good reason for this, Shadow.
Human nature.
No, you can't write a prequel for Luke. He was a 17-year-old kid working moisture vaporizers.
Yeah.
But Han Solo's in his 30s or 40s by the time the
34 years
actual
old.
movie starts. He's got this whole fucking history of crazy shit he got.
Well,
involved.
that's actually not entirely true. In the Star Wars comic books that came out right after, like the movies, like issues 7 on up, there was a story about Luke in Beggar's Canyon, doing some shit. It was kind of cool, you know. But then they said, "Yeah, fuck that. We're gonna just keep going forward." As well as like, there's a whole bunch of stuff I loved in those comic books.
Well,
back in
you
the
could
day
have
as a little kid.
done, if you wanted, kind of a book on Luke doing Luke shit on Tatooine. Sure, as
Yeah,
a
but I
kid.
mean, who cares, right? It doesn't
But-
matter.
I'm just pointing out that Han Solo was a much more fertile because one, he'd been in the Imperial Navy. He got in a lot of trouble there. He met Chewbacca. He ripped Lando Calrissian, whatever his name, for the Millennium Falcon. He cheated in that game of
Of course he
survival.
did. Of course he did.
I mean, he got into deep
Shot
trouble with
first.
the Hutt cartels. I mean, yeah, so this guy you could write 50 books on because he was always getting into some shit.
And it's just
But
more
Luke
fun.
Was hanging out, going to Tashi
The
Station to
Quintus-
get some power
I mean,
converters.
He was damn near like
Of the two of them, though, there's no doubt that Luke is the most powerful
oh yeah,
and definitely the most heroic.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke
he's like a
Vader
born
from
hero.
himself.
You know what I mean? He's only like a gnat's wing away from being a paladin.
Yeah, he would be a paladin. Luke Skywalker was the
think
pure,
so?
youthful guy. Well, as they say in the story arc book, the hero's journey, right? Luke's the farm boy. He meets the mentor.
Yep.
Then he meets the rogue, and then he meets the princess, and then the evil wizard, which in the first one's Darth Vader, until you end up realizing Darth Vader's working for the Emperor.
Yeah.
And I mean, so it follows that perfectly.
Sure.
But yeah,
Well-
if Luke Skywalker and Han Solo got in a fight, it'd be like a 2-second fight. Luke would
Yeah.
snatch him up with his force powers and cut him into 3 pieces and just leave him, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, not they do that because Han Solo basically become like a big brother to him.
Right.
And Luke Skywalker being so pure and good, he managed to find a way to overlook and forgive Han Solo for his more, let's say, shady characteristics. You know?
Banging his sister when she was only 19.
Hey, you can get married at 19, so I don't want to hear that.
I only say that because when I was exactly 33, 34, I was dating a 19-year-old, and it was awesome.
Oh my God. I got married at 19 and it sucked. And then after that, I wouldn't date a woman younger than me, even though I did date a woman who was well more than twice my age. I was like 22 and she's like 56.
Yeah, I don't do older women.
But she had kids
That's
my
number one
age,
rule.
which was weird. But I mean, we were just hanging out, you know.
Hopefully not the South Park kind of hanging out.
She made good catfish. She's a good cook.
Never had catfish. Never. Yeah.
That's because you live in California. Catfish is definitely like, if you live south of the Ohio River or anywhere near the Ohio River, you've ate catfish.
I've seen it in the store. It does not look appetizing.
It is the best fish on the planet for you to eat. It's one of the few planets that fish that the farm raised variety are actually superior to wild caught in every way.
Really.
And they're
I can do
incredibly, like renewable.
I can do tuna and fish and chips. That's about it. Everything else.
Well, then what you need to do is find yourself a Southern grandma. It don't matter, white or black, don't matter. They'll both be just as good. And try to get yourself some catfish fried up, and maybe a couple of hush puppies and some
I can do
fried
some hush
potatoes.
puppies.
And you'll be good, man. Because
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, there's not too
much
many fish that taste as good as that fresh fried catfish, and maybe a little hush puppy or something on the side. That's some good stuff right there.
I got hush puppies. Look, we lost James. I got some hush puppy mix up in the cupboard. Maybe I'll make that for dinner tonight.
Welcome back.
But I mean, for real, it's not hard to fry catfish, and it is a really good, mild, good tasting fish. So, but it seems to be like a Southern thing mostly, because I don't know why. Well, I mean, I'm sure Squirrel in Ohio, he's probably ate catfish because the Ohio River's full of them,
Yeah.
and all the creeks that feed into the.
Well, yeah, but
Ohio
now they got
and
three
stuff.
eyes and arms.
You what?
I said now they've got 3 eyes and arms.
Well, probably if you're near Louisville or Cincinnati, they might. You need to go to where the water's fresh, which is why I pointed out, and I know
Or
this is a
where
totally weird
Squirrel
tangent,
lives.
that you actually
up,
are better
Armin? Long
off
time no
just
see, man.
buying. What's up, Ardman? You're actually better off just buying the farm-raised catfish, Shadow. I mean, it's fed clean food. It's kept in the clean water. It's good. Yeah, catfish done up right is just one of the best fish ever. I never got to eat it growing up much at all because I was living kosher, and catfish is not kosher. So I didn't really get to eat it until I was older. But then when I was older and I got to eat catfish after my conversion, I was like, holy shit, this is some good stuff right here. It's pretty much the only freshwater fish that I like. Catfish and maybe brim. I don't like bass because it's too fishy, too gamey.
My dad likes bass. I think the crappie's what he doesn't like.
Yeah, some of the freshwater fish is way too gamey, but catfish is not that. Like a buttercat, blue cat, channel cat, and some of them can get 6-7 feet long. So
Dad also says that he'd rather have pond catfish than river catfish.
yeah. Well, that's why he needs to buy farm-raised catfish, since it's raised in nice, clean ponds, and they're fed special diets, and they're not full of chemicals and stuff.
Yep.
But anyway, that's just an aside. Sorry about that, but
It's okay.
I'll tell you what, catfish is another animal that I have an irrational fear of, though.
Wait, really?
As much as I'll eat them like every day, fried with hush puppies, I will not swim in the Cumberland River. You can kiss my ass on that end.
They're pretty creepy looking. I've seen them in the butcher section, the grocery store, and I'm like, yeah, that's just ugly looking. That is one ugly looking fucker.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're the prettiest, but they don't really scare me.
Well,
but
the
koi,
thing is,
koi, on the other hand, are like, you guys ever been around koi?
Yeah.
yeah, of course, they're
Big
just
giant goldfish.
they're
they're
colorful carp.
Yeah, those guys are like freaking puppies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had some in.
Yeah, they'll let
no,
you pet them,
probably not, actually.
and some of them cost tens of thousands of dollars.
It's
Yeah.
like, why do we not see more of them?
Because they're Japanese and they're very rare.
Yeah.
We
But
used
you
to have a
you
place.
can catch the
where I used to
basic
live.
model out of the Ohio River all day long. Squirrel backed me up on it. Standard carp. I wouldn't eat one, but you can catch them, and they're not ugly fish. They're big, silvery with big scales.
Yeah, I went to like a koi farm or some place where you could go and feed them and pet them. When I was young. It was
If
just
you
like,
were to just take carp that you catch out of a river, like the Ohio, Cumberland, whichever, and put them in a pond and fed them cat food, they would be the same way. They
Really?
would come up, popping at the top of the water and let you pet them. They'd be
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah,
It's just the nature of that animal, you know.
true.
That's kind of cool.
But yeah, no one in my family would ever eat carp. So if we ever caught them, we just let them back go, you know.
Let them go back into their wild.
Yeah, let them go on back. They're not, bad things. But where I live near the Cumberland Falls, there, Latholis, there's all these legends, rumors, myths, and lore of people going over the falls and no one ever finding the body because there were, 8 and 9 foot catfish under the falls.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised of those rumors.
And so I developed a weird kind of. Plus, I do know a guy who got killed by catfish, but it wasn't a giant catfish that you would think is mythical.
Would
This
you
guy
choke on
ran a
it?
trot line, right? You know what a trot line is, right?
Yeah,
You don't?
No.
Shadow? It's
No,
where
I
you
don't.
take a string and you hang strings off the string, like every foot with a treble
Okay.
hook. And then
Okay.
you put a float on it, and then you string it across a river or a big creek or something, right?
Nope.
And then you come back the next day and you pull it in and get whatever's on it,
Okay.
right? It's a way of passively fishing, and it's very illegal too, right? In this particular case, 2 of my relatives, an uncle and a second cousin or something, they were in a John boat, those little flat bottom 9 foot aluminum
Sure.
boats. And they were reeling up the trot line because you got to pull it in and lay it down right. Otherwise, it'll get tangled up and you'll be effed, right?
Huh.
And they got about halfway across the river. And as the story goes, and this could be total bullshit, this is just what I was told by the guy that survived. They pulled this catfish up and its head was about foot wide. And when the head broke water, the catfish dove and it drugged the trot line through my great uncle, I think's hands, hooked him up,
Ugh.
and he went down. And
Oh.
he drowned. They found the body. It didn't get ate or anything. But that would have been maybe a 6 foot catfish, and it just pulled him under.
That's a
Full
strong
of hooks,
catfish.
man. What a horrible way
What's
to
up,
go,
Dean?
right?
Hello.
Now, this is all family myth. And you know how families sometimes can, especially hillbilly families, they'll tell you some crazy shit.
Well, you know what they say. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah, you would think my family was way more Irish than they are by the way they talk. Because they do love a story, but this is what I heard, that a big old catfish just stuck a guy right in. This would be back in like the 30s and 40s, I guess. Like my mom was young, you know what I mean? Like a kid. Bunch of carp up on Ohio and Pennsylvania border. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't like them because they're kind of a nuisance fish, and most people will not eat a carp. They don't want any part of it. So you catch a carp, they put up a really good fight, but then now you've got nothing worthwhile. And hell, there's some, they can get really big too. Let me tell you, they can get big, like a couple feet at least, maybe 3. But like I'm telling you, if you take a basic carp, a silvery carp from out of the Ohio River or something, and you throw a bunch of them in a pond and feed them, they'll be like puppies, like you said. Every time you walk up to the pond, they'll be right there, popping the top of the water, staring at you, letting you pet them, feed them, whatever.
That's cool as shit.
Because koi are just super fancy carp that the Japanese bred to be colorful. All they are carp that got bred up, kind of like how we took wolves and made Pomeranians. They took carps and made koi. And that's the thing. How you doing, Dean? What's up, bro?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, nothing bad to report.
Good.
That's good. That's
No
good.
news is good news, according to Gary Gnu.
Also, apparently, one of the biggest catfish they ever pulled up is 9 feet and 7 inches.
Right.
It was found in Poland.
They've got some really mean catfish in Eastern Europe, like aggressive, violent catfish that go out of their way to try and get people. You're always hearing rumors of like young children getting ate by these freaking catfish.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a catfish will eat anything it can fit in its mouth. That's the rule.
So it's like a
So-
pelican.
I don't know the name of them, but their catfish got teeth and shit. Like our catfish got like this like sandpapery row on the top and the bottom. I mean, it's rough and it can peel your skin off, but it's not actual. But some catfish are actually like very predatory, I guess is what you would call them. They're aggressive. They actively hunt as opposed to just laying on the bottom of the river and waiting for something to come by them. So, you know, I only know this thing because I watched that River Monsters, and the dude went over there to try and catch one of these things, and he caught a 4-foot one, and that's when he stopped the show because fighting with it gave him a heart attack.
Oh. Yeah.
So that's what happened to River Monsters. Is the dude was doing his thing, and he had a heart attack. He's
How
like,
old was he?
He's like, woo, better stop this for a bit, you know, calm down a little bit. But
How old was he?
oh, he's an old dude. If you ever saw, like, I mean, he's got to be 60 plus. I mean, fit. He wasn't a big fat ass, but he was an older man.
Yeah.
And he went all over the whole world fishing for like these fish that supposedly ate people and shit. And yeah, he ended up having cardiac issues and having to take a break from that.
Yeah, talking about the big catfish, James. Biggest one caught was a 143-pound caught in Kerr Lake, Virginia.
Yeah. And I know the biggest ones in the world, I think, are in Vietnam. Mekong catfish, they get about 12, 14 feet long.
Dear God.
Like, it takes a whole
That's still a
village to
fish.
pull one of them bastards out.
Okay, it is probably a fish, but you know what I mean. Like that's like a whale thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're stopping the fishing because a lot of like Europeans and Americans were going over there and paying to fish for them. And they're kind of shutting that down because they're starting to get like rare.
Yeah.
But that same area, they've got a salamander that gets like 6 feet long. I mean, where I'm from, you could find salamanders that were like a foot long. We called them mud dogs or mud puppies. But can you imagine a freaking salamander as long as you are? I mean, that's crazy, man. Yeah. Yep. And that's what they say about under the Cumberland Falls, too.
Right.
And I heard they caught a 10-foot catfish one time in Tennessee somewhere. But I don't know if they ever took a picture of it because a lot of these stories come from the time before cell phones. So some guy comes and tells you they saw the Loch Ness Monster, and it's like, all right, whatever. But what I can tell you is, yes, the catfish in the Cumberland, which is 300 to 400 foot deep, get fucking big. Like
Speaking of the Loch Ness monster, you know, like there's that legendary picture where like you see the head going out of the out of the river. I saw of course AI, but it was still like slightly funny where like someone then zoomed in and then like an Italian man came out. So it was like his hand doing
doing the
yeah.
Oh
That's funny.
man. Don't even get me on the AI shit. I spent like an hour yesterday just watching what they call it, AI memes that should be banned. And like a quarter of them are just Bigfoot running around the forest high on coke or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he's like, I took that booger sugar. I might have took too much. And Bigfoot's eyes are like that big. He's like, man, that tree over there is looking at me kind of weird, you know, and you just see Bigfoot
It makes me think of those weird Bigfoot YouTube videos that's been
That's
going
what
around.
they are, but
Oh,
they put a
yeah.
bunch of them together.
Oh man, really?
And every now and then, Bigfoot's hanging out with Yeti.
Yeah, Yeti, or he's fighting the squirrels or something.
The raccoons, I thought,
he's
but yeah.
fighting the
Or
squirrels.
records.
Yeah, the last one I watched, Yeti had accidentally ate a bunch of Viagra or some shit.
Oh
And
no.
you see Bigfoot running. Bigfoot's like, Yeti says he's going to get a piece of my ass. I got to get out of here. Just hauling ass through the woods.
Yeah.
And
The
there's
other-
another one where Bigfoot has a friend he calls Downsy because it's a human with Down syndrome, but he hangs out with Bigfoot. And Bigfoot's like, shows the Ozempic injector. He's like, Downsy said I should take this Ozempic. I don't know what it'll do, but because he's always taking shit, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, so here goes. And he injects it. Like the next scene, he's running and he's super skinny, but all of his skin's just flopping off of him. He's like, when I catch that Downsy, I'm going to whip his ass. You know, I mean, these are jokes that are not fit for public, but they're funny, you know?
They're
And
hilarious.
some of them, like when Bigfoot goes fishing with a piece of fried chicken, he catches a big, gigantic sized black woman. I mean, yeah, it's racist, but it's also kind of
James,
funny too.
We
You know?
also see the AI videos of the aliens being beaten by humans and them talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh god! It's
Well,
like
I've
this
seen
guy
the
just
ones where
looked
you
at her.
just You got the two
and it
gray
just
aliens
opened.
and they're just talking to each other about shit.
Yeah.
And they're just like, man, can you believe that? You know, and it's like they're just hanging out having a conversation about some effed up thing that happened when they visited Earth.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then there's the one with the Southern family where they live in the trailer and the grandma is always saying like the most horrible shit to the granddaughter. Like the granddaughter be like, Grandma, why can't I get a good man? And he's like, because your cooch stinks, and every time you go out, you end up hooked up with some meth head. And it's
That's
just
a
like,
good reason why she isn't getting a good man.
and it's just that nonstop. The daughter, who's actually pretty attractive, will come walking up in a bikini with the Confederate flag on it, the bow banner, and she'll ask the grandma something, and the grandma will flat out just roast her ass right on the spot. You know, talk about shit. The only place you've been more than once is prison, or shit like this. You know, it's like, and just make fun of her. And so, yeah, those AI memes, they're getting pretty
Pretty good.
they're getting pretty out of hand.
But
But-
there's at least one advantage to AI videos, and that is that Bigfoot has to kill a lot less people each year.
True.
Yeah.
And Squirrel Hermit, I believe you 100% that they shut down the job because those fish were fucking around. I believe it. No one else might, but brother, I do because I've seen a thing or two, so I know a thing or two.
Yeah, imagine a shark, but it actually likes human flesh.
Yeah, that's called a great white.
Oh, I thought we were talking about catfish.
Oh, catfish, like I said, they don't like anything. They just eat everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like shark, I guess, or at least most of them kind of picky.
They are.
But then again, here's another problem we have in America, and I don't know if you have this issue over there. Bull sharks. They got a little organ in them where they can click their little organ over and become freshwater fish.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, look up the bull shark. They're made to be in the ocean, but they got an organ where if they pop that joker into whatever, they can live in freshwater pretty much forever. And there's a lot of people who say that a lot of swimmers and shit that go missing, like in the Mississippi River and stuff, it's bull sharks.
Hmm.
Bull sharks are also hyper aggressive.
I imagine that's why
Uh,
they are named after a hyper-aggressive mammal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have the highest testosterone of any animal on the planet. They will just straight up eat or attack anything. They can get really big. I mean, not great white shark big, but they can get big. They are known to have attacked humans in the past. That's just a thing that we know for a fact. And they can move into fresh water and just chill. So, yeah, you jump in the muddy Mississippi thinking you're going to have a fun time. You ain't got to worry about the catfish or the alligator. There might be a bull shark in there with you.
Honestly, rather a bull shark than one of those amoebas that like goes into the brain.
Well, we just call them amoebas, and usually you only really run into that shit in Florida. And that's if you're swimming in shallow, swampy water when it's really hot. They can go into your brain, and basically it's like a spinal meningitis, and they'll kill you. I mean, because they'll just go in there and destroy your brain. And Florida, another place where if you're swimming in the St. Johns River, there could be bull sharks in there. They've been caught out of there. You know what I mean? So just because the water's fresh, don't mean a shark can't get you. But most of the shark attacks that happen in the world happen here in Florida, and usually they're like sand sharks, and which don't get really big and aren't necessarily aggressive, but idiots are out there flopping around and they step on them or something, and then sand shark take a chunk out of them and swim off. So I think it's Cocoa Beach has the most shark attacks. But like I said, that's also where the most people are in the water fucking around with them,
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But yeah, man. You live in a country that's not the size of the state I live in. So it's probably kind of strange to you to think about like the variety of bullshit that we live with that's willing to kill us wherever we go.
It's like a case where I can imagine it, but I haven't lived with it because, okay, I've been to other countries, but they're basically the most dangerous animals in Denmark is the fox, and then I forgot what they're called, like some kind of snake, where it's not even that it like, what do you call it, like has regular venom. It's more like I don't know, what do you call blood poisoning in English?
Oh, it infects you, gets you infected. So those are two animals that wouldn't even be on the top 100 in America. I mean, or in fucking Florida for that matter, not even the rest of the United States.
Florida's
like fox, we run them down and try and make pets out of them.
Florida is the Australia of America.
Yeah.
But Denmark is also like first off a small country, and second off like a lot of islands, so it's pretty easy once you get rid of the big animals. So yeah,
I watched this guy who's from England, and like he visited America, and he did like a whole vlog on it, and it's hilarious because he's like sitting here talking about, just what we're talking about, like where he lived in London. The only thing he has to worry about is like immigrants from North Africa, right? And then he comes to America, and all of a sudden he's like in Louisiana looking at 12-foot alligator. It's just like, what the fuck is that? It's like everything wants him dead, and he's got this thick accent, and he's sitting here talking about like, how does anybody live here? It's like everything wants to kill you.
I think I have a little more guts than he does, unless it was for the camera.
He might have been putting it on for the camera, but
it's a little bit exaggerated.
I used to go fishing, Iron Man, up on the Eagle River. And every now and then the brown bear would be out there, and they are very scary. But the thing that scared me literally to almost, voided my bowels, I didn't. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you, is I was fishing. I turned around and there was a freaking moose standing behind me, and it was probably 10 feet away.
Oh dear. And
I never even heard it. And you wouldn't think something that big could sneak up on your ass. Yes, they can.
They can.
And I just stood really quiet, and it just looked at me, and it kind of and walked on down the way. And I was just like, I mean, I had a 357 on me, but that moose would have got me before I could have got the pistol out, I think.
Yeah.
And, because you don't carry a 9, like, how Haas always says I'm like a Glock man. I got glaucoma.
Yeah. You can't have a Glock in Alaska. You have to have
you're not carrying a Glock in Alaska.
Yeah, you need at least a 10 millimeter, preferably a lot bigger.
Yeah, you need like a 357 will crack an engine block. I mean, that thing will go boom.
Oh,
in
yeah,
and
on the
out,
move.
right?
So yeah, for some reason I was thinking back to bears.
Oh, bears, yeah, a 357. If you put a couple 357 rounds center mass on a big brown bear, it will lay down. It will die. But you can dump off 15 rounds of a 9mm into that bitch. You just making him mad. You know, he's coming after you, man.
It's even worse if it's like a grizzly.
Isn't that what a brown bear is, though, or is it a
No.
different brown bear?
Different
They're both
breed.
brown bears, yes.
Gotcha.
Well,
But grizzlies, you have them in Kodiak Island. They're called different things depending on where you are. And also, depending on the geography, they kind of act different too.
true.
Like a brown bear in Russia, you see people running them things down and tackling them and fucking with them like they're big dogs, right? But you go to Kodiak Island, they want you dead. They will eat you.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't want to do that there.
You know, so it's kind of, even though they might be the same animal, technically, they don't act the same.
Nope.
So, Shadow, I have a question for you.
Hmm.
If we discard the ones that yell about the Reconquista, what is your have you had any experience with wild animals?
Yeah, we've got coyotes. When Jackie was still on training wheels for his bike, and I was riding him to school, there was a pack of them about between 3 and 5 of them about 30 feet away, and I had to use my bike to shield him from them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, when,
They'll eat
when
your
we
pets
first moved
too,
in,
too.
when we first moved into this place, and we pulled into the neighborhood, there were 3 coyotes sitting on the side of the road like they were, begging for change. But since then, I haven't seen too many of them. We've got a squirrel that like taunts my dog. Other than that, the worst thing we've got are these giant crows that are about the size of a turkey. That will open up our trash cans and start digging through them.
Ravens. You got ravens.
And that's about it. It's either too hot for like most insects, and they're because it's desert and there's nothing for them to survive off, or we've got some rabbits. There's a little bit of farmland. It's pretty wide open and devoid of. We've scared everything off except the homeless. We can't seem to get rid of them. I guess we're still importing them, but that's
And
about
yeah.
the closest we've got to
And
wildlife.
we thank you very much for that, Shadow.
Yeah.
I literally had nothing to do with it. I'm not taking
No,
credit.
we
for it.
thank California very much for it.
Yeah, California.
We
can
make
suck
sure
it.
they do not feel comfortable here.
Yeah,
So a
I'm
lot
sure
of
places
times,
in Kentucky where they're like that.
yeah, and a lot of times the sheriff, if they have to deal with the same homeless person enough, will buy that person a bus ticket and send their ass to some other state. And usually it's California.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, all right, go live the
No.
dream.
I'd say the strangest wildlife I've seen here is probably a pheasant. We don't really have those much.
Yeah,
around
I've
here.
never
Yeah,
really.
we've got quail out here. I think it's quail or roadrunners.
Well, roadrunners, yeah, I know you got them out there because my great aunt was staying in what's it called, Jacob's Ladder or something out in the desert,
Mhm.
and yeah, so roadrunners were all over. But in Kentucky, you can legally just shoot a coyote anytime you want,
Yeah.
and those big ravens are basically flying raccoons. Because
Yeah,
they're at
except
least as
they're-
smart as a raccoon, and they will get into every fucking thing.
They're pretty smart. Yeah, and we've
Yeah.
also got some pretty big lizards from time to time. About this big. About a foot.
Yeah, but you ain't got to worry about those little.
Yeah, they just like look at you and run off and go eat bugs, and I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, you probably got some horny toads out there in the desert, and some people even sell those for pets.
I've never seen one of those. But I'm gonna have to let you guys go. It's
Yep.
boys home early on Tuesdays, and dinner is expected. So
Well,
I'm
see you,
gonna-
Shadow.
See you,
I'll
Shadow.
see you guys.
Thanks
I'll
for
see you guys
popping in,
tomorrow.
man.
Take care. Good seeing you again, Dean. It's been like forever.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing a video tonight because our friend from that place that doesn't exist sent us a package that is to be added to the giveaway that, our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So he sent us some stuff to give to you guys out there who qualified for the giveaway.
Well, there you
So
go.
stay tuned. And I don't think I forgot, Dean. I'm trying to get that thing out to you one way or another.
I
I'm
mean,
looking
if
at
there is other things that is a better option for you, that's okay with me too.
it wouldn't matter. They're just trying to bend us over on shipping, and I'm looking at into like Pirate or whatever that other like fly by night company is that just popped up that seems to be avoiding that shit because it shouldn't cost more than the item for shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it because when I ordered miniatures from England, like from Otherworld Minis when it existed, the shipping wasn't that bad. As a matter of fact, sometimes it was free.
Yeah, honestly,
Like
the
if I
only
dropped
place where
$100
shipping is
on
like really
miniatures, it
awful
was
is
free.
Canada.
But you
Canada
gotta
is
remember, guys,
insane, man.
the U.S. Postal Service is run by the Democratic Party.
I don't know about that. You're probably right, but I know Canada, they will charge you an arm and a leg to like try to send anything up there.
It's a shame, but I'll see you guys later tonight. Take care, guys.
Yep. Yeah, it's I will tell you this, Dean. I don't know if it will be of any use to you or if it will just be an old guy yelling at clouds. But I have based pretty much almost every wilderness encounter I've ever run in a fantasy role-playing game on my treks through the hills of Kentucky. So that's what I lean on. I guess if you were running a campaign where there were a lot of islands and inlets and stuff, you would do the same thing, right? Like,
I mean, the fun part for me would like be running a campaign during summer because, like both Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, we are at least one, whatever those degrees on this map is called, higher than
like a
you guys.
latitude or a
Yeah,
longitude.
so we have like really bright summer nights. So you can actually make imagine you can see everything, but it's also kind of like twilight light. So you're not sure of the detail. You could just see something is there. And that's also a really cool effect to play with, I will say.
See, in Kentucky, if there's like a no moon or a new moon, where I live, because there's no light pollution or whatever they call it, you can look up and it's like you can actually kind of get dizzy looking at the sky because of the stars just seem to like be never ending.
Yeah.
But the bad part is it's dark as hell. You can't see anything. It's like, so would I want to go during a really overcast night or a moonless night tramping through the woods? Not unless I had infravision. Because I mean, you're not going to see much.
No.
But it's beautiful to see the sky like that. Down here, because I live in the greater Orlando area, you can barely see stars because everything's so lit up and there's like big freaking, I don't even know what they're
Really
called.
nice thing about where I live.
You can see
You
the
can see
stars.
the stars pretty well.
You can kind of see the stars where I live, but it's still better like if you move like 40 kilometers out of the town.
So like 28 miles or so.
Yeah.
32 miles. Yeah, down here we've got like, what are those giant lights that like move around and send beams into the sky?
Lasers?
No, like they used to use them to try and spot airplanes in World War II.
Lights.
Yes, we've got literal searchlights in downtown Orlando
Searchlights.
that come on at night to let you know where like Planet Hollywood is and all that kind of shit. And it's like, so, and everything's lit up, it's just, so it's beautiful in that way. If you like living in, a city, it's beautiful, but you don't see very many stars or anything. But yeah, I have, like, the last time I was up there, which was a year ago, I went walking up the mountain to the top where the garden spot is, which we call it that because like 3 generations ago, one of my great uncles used to have a garden there because it's flat. It's like the only flat part of the whole fucking 30 acres, honestly. And so I walked up there sweating like a mule because, you know, I thought it'd be an easy trips up the mountain. And then it turns out I'm like going up this degree, like 90-degree slope with rocks everywhere. But I got up there, and that's when I made that post saying, Gary Gygax saying that you only had like a 1 in 2 chance of getting lost in the forest. He is full of shit. He never been to this forest. Because, I mean, if I hadn't grown up there and wandered around there most of my life, I wouldn't have
gotten
a
lost.
clue where I was, you know. Now the trick is you just go downhill though. And if you're really lucky, you get down into a holler, you'll find a creek and you just follow the creek. Because water almost always leads to civilization. Plus you need water if you're trapped in the woods.
Yeah.
But yeah, those woods, I think you could eat like the Daniel Boone National Forest. If you got deep into there, you could get lost probably at 5 and 6. 5 and 6, you're lost. If you don't, because I mean, no one goes there. It's not like you can buy a map and be like, oh, or follow a trail. There are no trails.
Yeah.
You know, you're just roughing it through the brush, you know.
I mean, a lot of the US is, well, it's not wilderness, but it is wild.
I would say probably at least 80% of the United States, no one lives on. Which is why I always laugh when people are like, oh, overpopulation. It's like the bulk of the population of this country lives on the coast and a few major cities. That's where like 80% of people live.
I mean, that's also like if the US changed their electoral college around, so like cities over a certain size, so basically New York and all those, they counted as their own vote and didn't count together with the state. America would be a red country again.
Well, yeah, because when they look at the votes, let's take New York, the state my pops is from, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who doesn't live in New York City but lives in New York State votes red. Because they live in the Catskill Mountains. They're apple farmers and whatever the hell they are, right?
Yeah.
Hardworking, blue-collar type dudes. But the city votes blue every time. And the same with Illinois. If you leave Chicago, you are in a conservative red state. But when you go to Chicago, it's like the bluest of blue. And it's everywhere in America. Like, we don't have blue states. We just have blue cities that dominate the state they're in.
Yeah, with all numbers.
Because, yeah, it's numbers. Which is why a lot of people think states should have their own electoral colleges. So that a city can't completely, because look at a place like California, right? 40% of the people in California voted Republican. But it doesn't matter because they have no districts because of the way it's gerrymandered. So California will always forever be blue, even though almost half of the population is actually red. And you have that everywhere, and it goes both ways. It's like it's a weird thing. I don't know how to fix it. I have an idea, which would be getting myself crowned king. But outside of that, I don't know. Actually, if I were like to roll over all of the states, I'd have to be an emperor because each state would be like a kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, and then I would make Canada a protectorate. So I wouldn't let them like have any political power, but I'd protect them. You know?
I mean, there is still, I mean, there are people that argue that what political power they have is just a facade, given that the king's scepter is still in their parliament.
The power is an immeasurable thing that only exists when people think it does.
Yeah.
It's just that's, but what you were saying though is 100% true. That's why every time, like when they made that funny meme with the dude from Nickelback holding up the picture, and it's like, look at this photograph from the song, and it's America, and it's like all red except for like New
Yeah.
York and LA and shit.
Yeah, look
Because
at
that's
the
how it
crap.
was, man. That's how our whole country works. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And but I mean, the founders set it up that way, and I assume they're way smarter than I am. So, you know,
I think we have much of a government that our founders actually really set up.
well, it's changed a lot from what they set up, but
Yeah.
Why is that
we're
to me?
still
Is it
trying.
because you think that everything changed with Lincoln, or
Oh, a lot of it changed
Lincoln-
with Lincoln.
Lincoln federalized everything. Before Lincoln, power was not centered in Washington, D.C. It was
Yeah.
kind of like a give and take amongst the states. But the Civil War proved why that couldn't necessarily be a great idea. Because, you know, and now, like, I don't know if you know this, Dean, but in the United States, states can't have their own armies anymore.
Yeah.
They can have a National Guard, but it answers to the federal government after the state. But back before the Civil War, you had like Kentucky had like, you know, the 7th Kentucky Cavalry and the 5th Kentucky Infantry. And these were all dudes born and raised in Kentucky that joined the military for Kentucky.
Yeah.
And because that was just the way it was throughout the United States, it made things a little bit of a way, you know.
I mean, there are precedents for citizens, what do you call it, owning their own warships and so forth. If you look back at the
Yep.
Oh yeah, but during the
back at
Civil
the
War,
founding.
during the
War,
Civil
too.
War, a lot of the artillery pieces were privately owned. Like
Yep.
just some guy owned a 12-pound Napoleon cannon.
And all that changed during the 1900s or 1920s, I think.
I think what really started with the gun control bullshit was when like Bonnie and Clyde and people like that were riding around with like
Yeah, I would say that was a lot
BARs
of it.
and Tommy guns, you
The
know.
Mafia kind of started the whole
Like
gun
when
control
these
stuff.
random criminals were better armed than the cops.
Yeah.
By like a lot, you know. The
I
cop
mean-
shows up with his little 38 revolver, and you got some dude with a BAR automatic 30-06, you know.
Or, you know, a Tommy gun
Or a
with
Tommy
like
gun.
a drum
I would
magazine.
take the BAR though, honestly.
Fair.
Yeah, that's another hypothesis I heard, that what do you call it? The alcohol ban wasn't actually about alcohol. That was just a pretext. It was a long game for making more crime so they could later crack down on guns.
That is
Could have been a possibility.
maybe true, but my understanding of it is this. Shortly after, my wife hates when I say this, but
Women
shortly
got the-
after we were dumb enough to pass the 19th Amendment, World War I started. And the bulk of voting age men shipped ass to Europe, right?
Yeah.
So who'd that leave behind? And what did they immediately fucking do? Pass prohibition.
It still amuses me that
And then it's been stupid ever since. Every damn since. And while I apologize to my wife, who's actually more right-leaning than I am, if women couldn't vote, a Democrat would never have won any office in the United States ever. They only win because of the female vote. Most men do not vote for those idiots. But women do, because you get up there and they talk about feeding the poor and blah, 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 all this kind of, you know, golden road to the freaking utopia bullshit. And it appeals to a female's
Empathy,
motherly
emotions.
nature. Because they care. They're caring. They want people to be good. It's not a bad thing. It's just the nature of they want stuff to be taken care of for them. And yeah, that's my mini rant on that. That's kind of what happens.
I still think it's amusing that Churchill had to get what do you call it, a doctor's note that he was allowed to drink this amount of alcohol.
Well, I mean, I've read that the reason the prohibition thing was such a hot item for like the women's movement was because back in the day, like the 1900 to 19 whatever, a man would drink like a fifth of whiskey and a 12 pack of beer. And like basically every American blue collar dude was just fucking lit all day, every day.
Mm.
You know, they would go to work drunk. They would be drinking at work. They'd get off work and go to the pub. By the time they got home, they'd be blasted, right? And their
Yeah.
wife would be pissed, as is understandable.
And
you
that's
know?
unfortunately a problem that's also been in Europe. Like you can see, so unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I'm gonna bring up the Natural Socialist. Basically, their programs for like getting people better jobs. One of the things they also set out to solve, and then they don't spend the money on alcohol.
Well, that's why you guys have the government run liquor stores.
No, that's only like in Sweden.
Right. Okay.
And that's also a very interesting story. So basically, do you know what concrete communism is?
Like collectivism, right? Like Stalinism.
So basically, it's a sub form of communism where the Swedes basically knocked down everything and built these concrete apartments.
Oh
Like-
yeah, they
Are you
built the
talking about
big
complex?
commie block.
Yeah,
apartments.
and that broke really the Swedish spirits, and they went to alcohol. Like it wasn't nice living in those places, even if you had the basic necessities. When it comes to housing, and then instead of just trying to fix that, they then regulated how alcohol is bought and distributed.
Yeah, see, Iron Man per capita consumption of whiskey was measured in gallons before prohibition.
That's a lot of liver.
Well, look at every Western you've ever seen. Dude
Yeah.
comes in out of the desert. What's he do? Give me some whiskey. Leave the bottle. It's like you're literally going to drink a liter of fucking whiskey. Okay. I mean, knock yourself out there, cowboy. But yeah, what you're talking about in the former Soviet Union, they call commie blocks.
Yeah.
Which they build these big freaking, well, they're not always super big, but these big, ugly, brutalist square concrete apartments. And they generally build them in a cluster. And they try to make sure there's some kind of store or services that are within walking distance.
Mhm.
And the people who live in them typically are so fucking depressed because all they ever see is these gray freaking commie blocks.
Yeah.
That, they become, I mean, for a long time in Russia, your average Russian was drinking a liter of vodka per day. That was an average. I mean, I think Putin like cracked down on that shit a lot to try and lower it. But that was why back in like the day, Russian women were fleeing Russia and marrying basically anyone else. Because pretty much most of the Russian men were just alcoholics. And how could you not be? You live in an apartment barely bigger than my game room in a just horribly gray building with no decoration. Maybe you got a rug stapled to the fucking wall because for some reason Russians do that a lot. I mean, I know my dad did. And and it sucks outside and you ain't got enough money to do anything fun.
Yeah.
So you buy cheap ass vodka and you get lit and hang out with the rest of the droogs.
Except for maybe like a central, what do you call it, plaza or something like that. There is no really places to meet people or invite them over.
Right.
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the fact that Sweden's doing that, you know who else wants to do that? America. Except they've renamed it because, naming is the important thing. Instead of calling them commie blocks, they're calling them 15-minute cities.
Oh, yeah, 15-minute cities. I thought you were about to mention walkable cities, which is more like, let's design cities like we did in the 1800.
Yeah, the 15-minute city supposedly will have all the apartments and all of the facilities anyone would need within 15 minutes of walking. But really, they're just saying commie blocks.
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody
That reminds me, they tried to enforce the first part of that, like in the UK, by putting up cameras and so forth, and they had to stop because it was getting too expensive in cameras.
Yeah. And then they started putting up ballards so you couldn't drive down streets.
And then people
the
put
UK.
cement in those.
Yeah. Yeah, they I'll tell you what, during Prohibition, they were shipping whiskey by the truckload across the frozen Great Lakes from Canada to Detroit and Chicago. Like during the winter when the Great Lakes would freeze up enough to hold a truck, they were just caravans coming across. And to this day, I saw a documentary where they went down with submersible, and sometimes the truck will fall through the ice and it's still down there. You know, just
You're not getting
hanging
that
out.
back up.
But yeah, this I mean, I don't even know why the Europeans, some of them, not all of them, are so concerned with whether people are driving or not. It's like it's like weird to me, but we have our people over here that are so convinced that at any minute, you know, something will happen with the weather and we'll all just die. And it's constantly evolving. Like when I was a little kid, the threat was like an ice age.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it turned into a
Global
worldwide
warming.
drought.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of bounced back and forth between
speaking
one
of
and the
whatever
other.
happened to that hole in the ozone layer, I know they say it covered, but the Chinese and Indians are using more of that chemical than we ever did.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing about being a Westerner at all, is if you open your eyes, it's like Western Europe and the United States combined is not even like really much of a fraction of what China and India pollute. But no one ever wants to put the hammer down on those guys. But they'll destroy our country in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Yep. A week's wages from Windsor, which I've been to Windsor. So yeah. Yep. You bring in some booze and you sell it to the speakeasy or to just people you know, and boom. I mean, it's moonshine. It's what some people in my family did all the way up until the 80s when
Or, you know, a lot of
Kentucky
religious
legalized alcohol.
or a lot of religious organizations just pop up out of overnight.
Yeah. See how they ended moonshine in my part of Kentucky left is they just made it legal.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all of the moonshiners and the cornbread mafia types, they just vanished.
Yeah.
Because there's no demand anymore when you can just go down to the local ABC and buy a 6-pack of beer. You ain't got to deal with the guy that's driving to Tennessee or wherever to get it. You know what I mean? So it put a total end to all that bullshit, all that mess. And hell, half of the guys who are making moonshine to, you know, illegally sell have bought licenses where they can make the moonshine and illegally sell it. You know what I mean? It's expensive, but you can buy a license to become a brewery and make corn whiskey if you want. I mean, that's a thing now. So
yeah, I still think it's amusing. I think it started like in the 80s, so like moonshiners. I know it became a lot. I know it became legal up before, but the moonshiners moved from moonshine to pot.
A lot of them did, and you always see over the deep forests, like in my area, you see Army, National Guard, like Blackhawks flying around, because the only way to find a grow is from the air, because they'll go way out in the woods, say 10K, you know, kilometers out in the middle of the woods, and they'll find a little patch and they'll just clear out the undergrowth, but leave the trees enough for sunlight to kind of get in. And then they'll set up the wire to keep, because, you know, rabbits and deer love weed. They'll just eat it all day. So you got to set up wire to keep them away from it. And then they'll plant it up. And a lot of them will run irrigation from a creek. And then, you know, just come in and check on it every couple of days. And eventually, I've seen pictures of people standing next to marijuana plants that were 8-9 feet tall. I mean, them things will get bigger than a human. They get big.
Yeah.
Look like trees, right? And then back in the day, really, you're really dedicated potheads. They only wanted the buds anyway. Like if you tried to sell them like leaves and stems, they'd get pissed, right? They wanted the bud. But how do I know this? Because someone my family knows named first name Chucky, I won't say his last name, was on America's Most Wanted. Because they pulled his ass over and he had over $1 million street value of marijuana in the back of his Cadillac. Yep.
Yeah, so he was
Right. doing everything I'm telling you. I know from actually knowing, seeing with my own eyes. I never did it myself because I've always been really straight laced and a good boy, kind of a mama's boy like that.
Yeah,
but I know people because I'm related to all the bandits in that region of Kentucky. I'm related to.
Yeah, I imagine
if they were in prison and anything like that, there's a chance they're a cousin of mine.
Yeah, I imagine your drug of choice has probably been back then has probably been vampire and gut girls.
That's after I come to Orlando, but yes.
Fair enough.
You are right. Your guess was right. But I mean, honestly, in real life, I never had a drug of choice. I never did drugs. I've never smoked. Okay, I lied. I drank. And I think it's fair to call alcohol a drug. Yeah, I would drink though, but I refuse to smoke anything. And yeah, you know, I wasn't doing any of that. Modern day, my drug of choice is these monsters, but I only have one like every 2 days. So, you know, I'm all right with that. Caffeine, you know, because if I go too long without caffeine, I get a headache. And instead of manning it out and just pushing through the headache, you know, I drink the caffeine and my headache goes away.
Yeah. To be fair, concerning caffeine, like giving symptoms, like when you stop taking it, that's not necessarily the caffeine. That could be one or two things. It's anti-inflammatory, and it can also tend to suppress other things that can be wrong.
Caffeine is?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's not necessarily because you're addicted, you get symptoms when you stop.
Yeah, it's because it stops, and then something that's already maybe not cool is like, what
coming
the fuck,
back.
Man? That makes, damn, Dean, I learned something every day from one of you Danes. I mean, between you and Saxius, I'm getting a lot smarter about stuff.
Oh dear. Well, at least in my part, oh dear.
So, no, Saxius explained a bunch of shit to me the other day too, and now you explained this. It makes sense. I have no reason to think you're on here lying to me.
Yeah.
About it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. So I'm going to
cool. I mean, I can't get citation for it because, like, that would require me to go look them up again.
You know, one of the things I really don't like is when you're debating with some asshole and everything you say, they're like, I need a citation.
And when you give it to them, that's the wrong one.
It's like, fuck you. We're arguing about whatever we're arguing about. We're having a gentleman's debate. Let's both assume we're telling the truth, unless somebody says something blatantly fucking outlandish, right? I've found that most of the people who are constantly demanding citation, they're just assholes. And they're not really interested in a debate. They're using I need a citation as a way to just fuck with you.
Yeah.
Ironically,
you could solve that by going medieval on their asses. And that's because the rules for debating during the medieval time was a lot more strict than they are today. Like, you weren't even allowed to debate your opponent until you have retold in your own word what their argument was.
Right.
Steelman their argument.
Right. There's just a lot of, you see them, and they're usually on X, and they'll say something stupid, and you'll be like, that's not the thing, and they'll immediately be like, citation needed. And it's like, oh. And depending on how I feel about it, I'll just go copy the citation, like the article, and post it. But sometimes I'm just like, yeah, get fucked. I don't care enough. You know? Yeah. But I don't know what it is about me, but I just assume people are telling the truth. unless I know they're not, which means I caught them,
Yeah.
not telling the truth. Which reflects me and my brother's relationship quite a lot. Like I always said, he'd run 10 miles and tell you a lie rather than stand still and tell the truth. It's a joke. He's not that bad of a liar, but boy, our actual blood father, that guy was the biggest liar on the planet.
Yeah.
And sometimes to mess with my brother, I tell him we found him behind a dumpster or whatever. So
Yeah, there are unfortunate people who like their mouth runs like a horse in a race.
I think there probably might be. But yeah, there are some people who lie just for the sake of lying. It's like they're not even going to gain anything by it. It's like, it's not pillow talk. They're not trying to talk a girl into taking her panties off. They'll just tell anybody a lie just because
It's for the game of it.
just to do it.
Yeah.
And I used to hang out a lot with a guy down here, and this guy, he was a good guy, tall, handsome. The women loved him, and he couldn't tell the truth if you paid him money to do it, which meant that it always cooked him, because he would hook up with some chick and he'd tell him all of his bullshit about being a U.S. Marine Corps, Army, Ranger, whatever the fuck lies he would tell. And the problem is, eventually, the woman catches on that you're a bullshitter. And then she dumps your ass, because no woman wants to be with a bullshitter. And I would always tell this guy, from the time I met him, like 25 years ago, I'd always be like, bro, you ain't got to lie, man. Look at you. You're like 6'3", blonde, blue-eyed, Russian, handsome. The women love you. You're great at karaoke. You're a charming guy. Why are you lying? And he still would, though. No matter how many times I tuck him aside and said, bro, you ain't got to lie. Like he would lie at the gaming table full of people that had known him for 20 years. And every one of us would just be sitting there looking at him being like, we were there. You're telling us a lie about a thing that happened that we were literally there. And we know that what you're saying is a lie. And also, there are no Marine Corps Rangers. That's crazy. And also, no, you did not snipe or kill a freaking Iraqi colonel, because you never went to Iraq.
That and Iraq's military didn't last that long, so logically he wouldn't have time to.
But, I don't know what happened to him. He's like one of those people who actually had nothing but like benefits, nothing but advantages, but his esteem was so fucked up that he constantly sabotaged himself. And I tried for years to be like, dude, come on, man. I'm your friend. You ain't got to lie to me. I already like you. I mean, why are you trying to convince me you're super cool? I've known you for 10 years, like we're all a bunch of nerds, man. And, but yeah, that's the problem when you meet a girl in the bar and you tell her a bunch of fucking stupid lies. Eventually, very, very soon, she's going to figure it out. And then
he just wanted to be the king of the nerds.
I don't know. I can't even say. I don't even understand. It was like, I'll tell you what, though. When we went to the karaoke bar and he got up and did Baby Got Back, that shit was fucking primo. And he danced too. And he actually, another thing I could be envious of him for, he could dance. He had rhythm.
Yeah, I know.
For a tall, blonde Slav, you wouldn't think he'd have rhythm. He had rhythm. He'd get up there and start buzzing out that, I want to get with you, and double up, and he'd start dancing all over and shit. It was fucking amazing. He picked up so many women just because of shit like that. But then he'd always run it by lying. And he'd be like, fuck this guy. Come on.
I'm also tired of magazines telling me flat butt sort of thing.
Right. Right. I agree. So turn around, stick it out. Even white boys got to shout. Right? I mean, but anyway, so now that I've gave you a whole rundown on a guy that I haven't talked to him in a while because he's been busy, but yeah, just a guy that lied for no reason. And it never lying never helps you out, really. You know, it never helps you out, really. People always eventually are going to catch on that you're full of shit. And I think that's why I assume everyone's not lying to me until I catch them, because I just don't care for it. And that's why the citation needed pisses me off so bad, because it's like, so you're basically saying I'm a liar, right?
Yeah.
If this was the fucking Old West, you and I would be taking a walk out into the street. You know what I'm saying? Or if it was the medieval ages, there'd be a duel.
At least 50 cuffed.
I mean, whether it's 50 cuffs or 45s, I'm just saying, I don't know if I could tolerate being called a liar too much. And one of us would have to go, and because I do take that bit, personally. But I haven't been on X in like 6 months, so I don't even know.
Sounds like a good break.
I don't intend on going back either. It's not even installed on the computer I actually surf the net on. I think it's on this one just so that I can broadcast to it if I want.
Yeah.
But I never check it. I don't care. I was surprised that Double D got banned because I thought they had made it a lot more like open-ended and a lot less, getting banned all the damn time. So I cannot even imagine what he must have done to actually get banned. I know the last time I got banned before I got my new account, it was because I made a big post explaining to a bunch of Middle Eastern people that their religion was completely heretical and their so-called God was actually a demon named Baal. And they banned my ass for that.
There's definitely a few contenders for who their deity is, yes. I heard Baal, I heard the Prince of Persia, aka the principality mentioned in the Bible.
Right.
And I also heard, and I forgot who the third one was.
I heard it was like an Arabic moon god.
Well, the thing is, Baal is a very commonly worshipped god throughout the region. And the Quraysh tribe, which was the tribe that built the Kaaba and put the that rock in it, they worshipped a chief god named Huzbal. And Huzbal is basically just what they called Baal. And Baal is the Lord of the high places. And so if you read scripture, you'll see how the Jews were constantly warring with the worshipers of Baal. Or worshiping him themselves. I mean, it went back and forth nonstop. Eventually, Muhammad threw out all the gods except for Huzbal and his three daughters. But then some people got pissy, so he threw the three daughters out too, and just kept Huzbal, which they call Allah, which just means God, lowercase. So at one time there was 300 Allahs in the Kaaba, but then they threw them all out. You know what I mean? And then, like I've said before, I know you've probably heard it add, whatever. The Kaaba being a black cube, that represents Kronos or Saturn or, again, Baal, who are all maybe the same concept.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's why I think they eventually, somebody did stab that one dude in the neck because he wrote about the three daughters. supposedly of Allah like Manat and whatever. And
I'm
some
not
people
familiar
got
with that
super
story.
pissed off about it. The demonic verses. And like for like 30 years he was okay, and then one day he's sitting there giving a speech and somebody stabbed him in the neck or something like that. But then again, they stabbed that one dude. He's not Orthodox, but you would think he is. And he got stabbed in the freaking eye, took his eye out. So it's the weirdest thing, because all of the information I've just spewed out, you can actually find in the Quran. It's not hidden. It's in the hadiths in the Quran.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
the Quran is actually very interesting. First up, you know what chapter, or right, the older ones you all really need to remember. And then there is 2 eras of the Quran, or 2 Qurans, or whatever. The one that was before Muhammad became a warlord, and the other one is before that.
Well,
And they
there's the
always
one where he talks about, according to the law, they can't raid during a certain part of the year, but then he decides to do it anyway.
yeah.
Like, I mean, Muhammad was constantly changing his mind about shit.
Mhm.
Like, there's the one where he gave a slave to be the wife of his stepson, but then he was walking by her tent and saw her bathing. So he decided to make her his wife.
Yeah.
And parts of the Quran specifically say you can't do that. But he can. You know what I mean? Because he's the servant, you know. Like when he beat his 9-year-old daughter's ass, that's what they wrote, is like, you're not supposed to do that, but he can.
Yeah.
You know.
So real quick, the clock is now 1 a.m. So I think I'm gonna head out and
Yeah, I'm gonna head
time
off
for the night.
too.
Yeah. I was about to say.
I think that's a great idea. We'll end on that serious note. I mean, let's gotta go eat some fried chicken or something.
Yeah.
No, I
Let's
already
end on
ate.
child abuse.
Yeah. See, and hopefully, you know,
Yeah.
Facebook won't ban me, or Facebook, or any of it won't ban me. But
Yeah.
all of this stuff is stuff that is known to anyone who has ever read any of it.
Yeah.
It's so weird how things can be right in your face and people still deny it, even though it's right there, you know, and written by the people in question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. This was fun.
I'll see you.
I don't know what exactly the whole topic of the video was exactly, but I had a good time hanging out with you guys.
It just said painting, so I figured.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
was
people want.
painting. I am trying out this freaking ancient honey color on, you know, I'm using it like for the blonde hair on this guy.
It is actually a really great color or shade.
Yeah. And this guy kind of reminds me, with the blonde hair, of the main character from Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice.
Is it Fire and Ice?
I don't know.
It was an animated movie with Bakshi, and the blonde-haired guy's village got ran over by like a glacier, and then there are a bunch of subhumans, and his name was like Dar or something like that, and he was running around trying to not die, and the subhumans that were basically Neanderthal were running around trying
You
to die.
appear to be correct. There is one called Fire and Ice, and
Yeah,
there
it
is
was a Bakshi animated, and I think with Frank Frazetta.
And then there is the Conan stand-in, which is a guy with some kind of animal fur over his head.
Right. That guy, if you're talking about the guy with the axe and he's wearing like some kind of animal head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from Fire and Ice too, but it's also from Molly Hatchet album covers.
Hmm.
I think they called him in Molly Hatchet the Death Dealer, but I don't even know if he has a name in Fire and Ice. He does show up though to whip ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have this ice mage named Necron, and basically he's a super powerful cryomancer, and his whole deal is, by the force of his magic, he's pushing the glaciers into the warm lands to destroy the kingdoms there and conquer them by pushing the glaciers over them.
What a dick.
and he's served by like armies of these Neanderthals. So it's I think it's a really cool movie, but you know,
Yeah.
Anyway.
I will put it on my list. It actually looked like something I want to watch.
I think you'll enjoy it. They used when Bakshi and Frazetta did it, they had actual actors that were wearing like the sensors all over their bodies. So basically, when you
Motion
see
captures.
Dolph run or throw a spear or something, there was an actual actor doing all this stuff. And then Bakshi came back with the animators and animated everything so that the character movements look really realistic, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically a very simple story. Good guys live in Firekeep, the bad guys live in the glacier, and they're fighting it out. And Dar's caught in the middle. And there's a hot, big boobied princess that gets involved too. So I mean, it's something every dude would like. And with that, I say adieu. Das vidanya. Hasta luego. Vaya con Dios. Come on now. Let me remember my German. Guten Nacht. Yeah, I think that's all.